Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a brand new edition of the Hockey Happy Hour right here on A2DRadio.com. I am Matt Tsutsudi, along with the Darkwing Brian Daly.
What up?
And the broken one himself, Mr. Rob Povia.
I think we're parked, man.
And tonight we are going to do a very fun and exciting 1990s draft for everyone out there wanting and hoping for the thrill ride of our decade through decades that we've gone through over these last few weeks. And, of course, this is the Hockey Happy Hour, and we are brought to you by Specialized Physical Therapy. You can find Dr. Paul Vidal in Cherry Hill, Princeton, and Burlington, New Jersey. Listen, man, every once in a while you got an ache or a pain, mentally or physically. Either way, Specialized Physical Therapy, that's the place to go, and you can make an appointment at www.specializedphysicaltherapy.com, and Dr. Paul Vidal will take care of you. And tonight, like I said before, the 1990s draft is going to be kicking into full gear. And we, of course, have our poll question that is related to the 90s decade. And we might as well fire that one off. And that is, the Flyers lost the Eric Lindros deal. Agree or disagree? That is the options available to everybody there. And, gentlemen, what do you think? Do you think the Flyers won that deal, or do you think they lost that deal? Oh, and by the way, hi, Ricky, and hi, Don Don.
What's up, boys? I don't know. That's tough to say because of where his career went. I realize that Eric Lindros is a Hall of Famer. And he had a few really, really good seasons for the Flyers. But a lot of concussion issues really, I think, held him back from the player that he could have been. And that to me hurts his legacy a little bit. Because a lot of people are going to remember him for being, he had concussion issues, concussion issues. But a lot of the guys that got to see him, a lot of the people like myself, I do remember him being a very, very good power forward. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know how to really answer this. I'm just going to leave it at that.
Hey, it's a fair enough point you make there, man, because you don't know how to quite feel from the Eric Lindros era for the Flyers when you come so close to the promised land and not drink from the cup when you're the odds-on favorite to be hoisting that cup at the end. It's tough to say that we didn't lose on that deal, especially when you consider all the players that were given up to get Eric Lindros. Recchi the first time, Ricci, Hextall the first time, I should say, before. And I say, though, I 100% agree disagree that we won that deal because beforehand they were making that tough adjustment from that sharp team in the 80s, sort of like above average team in the 80s, having that dip in the early 90s, floundering. And then you brought in Lindros, and Philly became the place that you wanted to play in the NHL. And it brought in other players, both through free agency and trade, and the ultimate formation of the Legion of Doom. So I think the Flyers certainly made out in that deal. It changed the landscape. It brought back that winning culture. And a lot of the Flyers fans that I know that, a little bit older than us that enjoyed that Broad Street Bullies era felt like they were, experiencing deja vu.
Yeah, and Chris Dunn brought up a great point. You bring in a player like Eric Lindros, and he says Lindros sold out the building for 8 years and saved the Flyers. It should have won at least 2 cups. LeClaire trade made the difference. Still no goalie. You bring in a guy like an Eric Lindros, you're going to attract talent. You're going to want to bring in guys, free agency, via trade, via whatever, and they're going to want to play with a guy like Eric Lindros. or had they had kept him or gotten him earlier, of Peter Forsberg, because they're attractive names, they're attractive players, they're guys that you're going to get production from, and it makes a huge difference. It makes a huge difference.
Yeah, and when you talk about that deal, and John saying agree, he brought the Flyers fans' passion back to get the most hyped guy out of a draft possibly ever. And Rich chimed in and said, "Hey, Lindros, a hockey name I actually know."
What's up, Rich? John, how you doing, buddy?
What's up, Ritz? And you can catch Ritz on In This Very Ring on Saturdays, Saturdays. Sometimes he does them on Fridays for whatever reason. But anyway.
You're going to be going live during the AEW pay-per-view? Because that would be the tits.
That's a good question, actually.
Full Gear.
All right. Yeah. Good question. But for the Lindros deal, one of the things that gets brought up a lot and why people like to point that the Flyers lost, either because they don't like the Flyers or because people are, salty as hell and they can't get over the fact that, the Flyers, unfortunately, couldn't get the job done at the most opportune time, especially in 97. But think about this, though. Yes, we gave up Peter Forsberg when he was young and he was becoming a major star. And yes, he played a very physical game, but he wasn't all that different from Lindros. He was a physical player. That's what shortened his career. And on top of that, he was a great goal scorer. And there's not a doubt in our mind, but so was Lindros. It's like you have two players that were very similar to each other. However, people always bring up the fact, but Forsberg won 2 cups with Colorado. Yes, but you also forget to mention that they had Joe Sakic. They had Patrick Waugh in net. And on top of that, they had Adam Foote. They had Ozolinsh. I could go on forever with the talent that they had on that Colorado team. And that's just the 90s. They got even more talent in the early 2000s, which led to them getting a second Stanley Cup. So again, you're splitting hairs at that point when you're saying, but they won 2 cups. Yeah, but they had Patrick Waugh in net, and they had other really talented players that helped carry them. And also, by the way, the West was not nearly as strong as the East was back then. It was really only 2 teams. It was either Detroit or it was Colorado. One of those 2 teams. You had Dallas, too. Those were the 3 teams, really, at the end of the day that you figured, okay, if there's any team that has a shot of winning anything, it's those teams. Yes, you could argue, well, what about St. Louis? Yeah, St. Louis tried, but they always found themselves getting eliminated at the most unopportunistic point. But again, it gets to the point of the 2 major teams when you thought of at the time dominating the West was Colorado and Detroit. Those were the 2 teams. In the East, it was different. You had the Flyers, you had the Devils, you even had the Rangers for a short period of time in the 90s before they fell off. And then, of course, you had the Capitals and you had the Maple Leafs and the Sabres. You had a lot of teams in the East that had a chance to win a cup and were looking promising to win a Stanley Cup. They just could never get the job done at the end of the day. Some of them. Others of them did. Point is, we had a tougher conference, at least in my opinion. And I think that ultimately changes the way it looks out. By the way, what's up, Tom?
No, you're right, Matty. You're right. They were very similar type players, but had many different pieces around them. And that's what culminated in the 2 cups for Colorado and the 0 for Philadelphia Flyers. But what I'll say is then you got to look at the personality on and off the ice between the 2 men and what do they attract towards the team. And let's face facts. Lindros was a very loud, brash player, talked some smack, dealt out hits that was going to warrant the hits back. Now, you could say the same for Forsberg there to a degree, but a much quieter game coming from Sweden and not drawing attention. You do like that guy that gets under the opposing team's skin, but when it draws hits from Scott Stevens, that puts you out of commission when you're having concussion problems already because you're getting targeted while you're taking away your team's best star man.
No, and I agree. And Chris Dunn brought up another great point, too. What happens if this trade doesn't go down? They had another agreement with the Rangers. That changes the whole landscape of a whole nother team as well. Mm-hmm. Who gets traded from the Rangers for Eric Lindros? I don't know if they've ever. I personally don't know. Maybe they revealed who the package was for to get Lindros, but the Nordiques at that point were a team that was absolutely already built to compete. And Lindros was going to be that final piece. And fortunately for Quebec, one, they had that issue where they had to move to Colorado. And then, you trade to get Peter Forsberg, who turned out to be, in my opinion, a Hall of Famer. But, it worked out for both teams. I mean, Philly was able to build a team around Lindros that competed every year and always put up points, and they were big and mean and nasty. And Colorado, same thing. They wound up building a team that could compete for years to come too. And it was really, to me, both of these teams wound up winning in this deal. Like, you want to sit here and you want to talk, okay, maybe give the edge to Colorado. Maybe Colorado won the deal because they wound up winning 2 cups with Forsberg. But both organizations wound up putting teams together that, were always competing for playoffs, always competing for a cup. There was really no down season in that decade for either one of these teams that, if they even didn't last long.
Yeah,
So,
they weren't just squeaking into the playoffs. They were in the top of the standings.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Absolutely. Greg was saying, I #disagree to the poll. Sure, it didn't bring a cup, but he was a monster. Loved me some 88. And what's up, Greg?
Drag.
All right. So, have a lot of agreements on the side of, Lindros was a great player for the Philadelphia Flyers. And at the end of the day, it is a tough one to call because of the fact that people can argue that, Lindros didn't bring any cups to Philly. Forsberg won 2 cups in Colorado. But then you also make the argument of, look at the players around Forsberg. Look at the situation that happened in Philadelphia where the issue of, we put the Legion of Doom team together, but we never found a goalie. It's just one of those, it happens. So that's how hockey works, man. The hockey gods are assholes to some teams, and they are assholes to the Flyers a lot of times. They're like, oh, you want to make the Cup Finals in 97? Well, we're going to make Detroit underdogs and then beat the shit out of you for 4 straight games. Enjoy it. Have fun. Enjoy your Eastern Conference title that you easily won, which we did. But Jake Friel saying, I definite disagree here. The man was a stud for us. So Jake Friel is 110% disagree.
And listen, I give you guys shit all the time about Eric Lindros and whether or not he should be in the Hall of Fame and all that. But I'm never the type to sit here and not give the guy credit for being the player that he was. The reason I give Eric Lindros shit is because I just don't think he wound up being the player that he should have been. And a lot of that has to do with his concussion issues. And I think he was a much better player than I give him credit for. But again, the injuries held him back. And when you're dealing with concussion issues, especially when you don't know a lot about them, unlike, more now than then, you're just putting guys at risk, and you don't realize how healthy or unhealthy these guys are. And it took his toll on Lindros, especially later in his career.
True.
A solid point. A lot of unknowns back then, let alone CTE. And we've seen it lead down a lot of dark paths, just getting through it, let alone, post-retirement, guys taking their own lives. So, yeah, I mean, it's like I miss the old NHL, but I'm relieved that the NHL made this transformation to get away from that heavy charge check game, rushing down for icings, for example, a lot of the collisions that, resulted from that, saving guys, saving quality of life, both during their playing careers as well beyond.
Yeah. And Frank saying, hey, yo, sorry to bother you at work. To answer the poll, it worked. But it is a huge what if had Lindros did not refuse to go to Quebec or if he went to the Rangers. Would the Flyers have won a cup with Forsberg in the 90s? A lot of other questions in play. And I would argue that...
Great point.
I would argue that we probably would have wound up in the same situation even with Peter Forsberg. Say you bring in the same guys to work with Forsberg. Do you necessarily get the Legion of Doom? Maybe not. Do you get one hell of a line? You still do get one hell of a line. But what's to say that we still don't lay a big old egg in the 97 Stanley Cup Finals? Because you still have a situation where you're dealing with Detroit. And Detroit being the team that they were a great shutdown team. And also, we still had Hexie kind of past his prime, and that's no hate on Hexie. I love Hexie just as much as the next guy, but as good as he was, it wasn't the 80s Hexie. And you knew it wasn't the 80s Hexie, you know?
Yeah,
And we never found a replacement for him, and that hurt in a big way, you know?
and to kind of like rebuttal you here, Maddie, a little bit is, who's to say the Flyers still wind up going down that road, making the same deals that they made, who's to say John Leclerc even winds up still being a Flyer? What if he stays in Montreal because they don't make the deal to get Lindros? So many things happen because of just having Eric Lindros on that roster.
Yeah.
You have Peter Forsberg. I doubt the same things actually happen. I doubt the same deals go down. Same free agents sign here. Same, everything is different if this deal doesn't go down.
And Frank was saying, would the Rangers end the curse in 94 and not trade Mike Gartner? Would Patrick Waugh and Ray Bourque finish their careers in Colorado? Relocation was going to happen and had the same guys. And it's all very good questions. It's a whole lot of what ifs and a lot of things, and you do realize how much that Lindros deal really changed a lot of things for several teams. Not just the Flyers and the Avalanche. We're talking teams that it affected as well because you had to play against those teams. And Frank Patrick screams in Quebec.
Well, here's what we need to do. We need to find Barry Allen and the Flash, and we need to get Flashpoint, and we need to find out for sure.
Create different timelines.
Exactly. Create
there you
different
go.
Timelines, and then come back here to this moment and say, well, this happened, this happened, this happened. Then we can answer
that'll solve.
What are you talking about?
All right.
Well done, bro.
If you watched The Flash or read any of the Flash comics, you would know.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
I'm following you, Brian. You know I'm picking up what you're putting down. But
you always got my back, Rob. My guy.
I 100%. But I will say this: I would have paid money to see a Forsberg, Renberg, Ricci line. That could have been dirty.
That could have been dirty.
Yeah.
That could have been very dirty.
That would have been a nice line.
Absolutely. We could always play it in NHL 99.
True.
Now
Make it
you come,
happen.
Abby.
Yeah. Simulate it, see what happens. We'll still probably lose to the fucking Devils. Anyway, and Eileen was saying, hey guys, I'm drinking way too much wine. Sending love to y'all. Hi, Eileen. We love you too.
Yo.
Is there such a thing? Enjoy yourself, Eileen. It's nice to hear from you.
Yeah. So, what do you think about this one? Gator Country saying Lindros was overrated. I would disagree with that. I don't think he was overrated. I just think his career got cut short due to injuries. He was still a major player.
I half agree with Gator Country, and the reason I half agree with him is for the reasons I just stated, is because of his injuries. Like I said before, just he was held back. You didn't see full Eric Lindros after a certain point. And, like I said, I half agree. You got great production from him for a good number of years before the concussions really started to take its toll. So, like I said, I half agree.
A lot of people look back and they see, just the stats, maybe just the brevity of career, to your point, Maddie, with the injuries. But you lived it and watched it. Eric Lindros was the best player in the game for many years during that time. So overrated, I don't know where you're coming from that. Maybe you're a youngster, but hey, I apologize if you did watch during his playing time, and that's your opinion. We respect opinions here, no doubt. I just disagree with it.
Yeah, he went on to say maybe not so much overrated, but more of a disappointment. Huge disappointment.
Which I would agree with that. I would agree. Definitely disappointment.
Boom. And Gator. Yeah. All right, now I'm digging you. You.
And he did say also Lindros' dad hurt his career, and I actually agree to that too, because there was a lot of issues with that, especially when he got the concussion issues, and Bobby Clark and them just did this, and Philly isn't big enough for the ego of Bobby Clark and Eric Lindros. One of them had to go, and Lindros went, and Clark stayed. But
listen, I agree with Chris Dunn here. His comment saying no injuries, top 10 all time. I think there's huge potential for that. For sure, top 15 all time.
Agreed. And then right before that, Gator said his dad was problems, and that caused a rift with Clarkie too. So that was a great point.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, then. Now, let me see here. And Tom's saying, I disagree to the poll, by the way. Frank's saying, you guys should do a what ifs. I would love to take part in one.
So creepy. It's so creepy. And to answer Tommy's question from earlier, he wants to know when the season starts. Probably early to mid-January.
Yep.
From everything I'm hearing.
Yeah. And Ricky's saying, you can't say he's overrated. Guy played 760 games and had 865 points. If he didn't have all those concussions, who knows what would have happened. And I think we all can be in agreement in that. If he hadn't suffered the injuries, he definitely would be he would be thought of more in the same light as other great hockey players, instead of being a question mark to some people next to those players. And
yeah,
Anthony,
and I agree with Gator Country real quick, Matty, before you go on here.
Sure.
Maybe use the term disappointment overrated, but
yeah, absolutely. He said, okay, fair, but Lindros was healthy in 97 finals. He was, but unfortunately, he got shut down. That's what the Red Wings did. That's what they did to a lot of teams. They shut you down because they had one of the best defenses in the entire league at that time. And yes, they weren't highly touted that year because they had a choker label around them for a long time because they couldn't get out of the third round or the second round. Hell, they even lost to the San Jose Sharks, who were lucky to be there in the first round. And that was the Sharks' first ever time being in the postseason. So yeah, they had a very bad choker label, and they finally shed it in 97, and they went on to win the cup the following year, and they smashed it to pieces.
Yeah, some guys just can't handle the pressure, handle that big spotlight.
And
especially if it's their first time there.
Yeah. And he said 88 was my favorite, just bummed he never won a cup. Yeah, it is a shame, man. He never won a cup, and it seemed like it was going to happen, when Lindros came to Philadelphia. It really looked like it. And Anthony's saying, you know who was overrated? Czech Manic. Yeah. When the playoffs got going, Czech Manic disappeared.
Except when it came to saves with the mask or like giving headers to the puck, he was second to none.
And listen, I was just about to bring that up. I was going to say if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have the head save in hockey now.
That's true. And
sacrificing the old dome there.
And Gator
was nuts.
Yeah, he was. The Gator Country was saying Beezer was a flop. In Philadelphia, he absolutely was a fucking flop. But that was pretty much the end of his career when he came to Philadelphia, which figures. Yeah, completely figures.
Well, I mean, and that was the Flyers for a long time, too, was bringing in guys like John Van Beesbrook, Jeff Hackett, Sean Burke, all these goalies that were names like 10 to 15 years before they came to Philly towards the end of their career. You know what I mean? So they never really answered that, we need a franchise goalie. All right, well, let's just get a Band-Aid, get a Band-Aid, get a Band-Aid, get a Band-Aid, get a Band-Aid. And that's all they did for a long time. I mean, Bush was supposed to be the guy, never really turned out to be the guy. Spent some time in Arizona and Carolina before coming back to Philly. You bring in a Marty Biron, who never really turned out to anything great. Ilya Bryzgalov is brought in to be the next franchise guy, but you all know how that worked out.
That's PTSD inducing.
And now you got Carter Hart. So now you got the franchise guy now. Unfortunately, it's like 30 years in between franchise goalies, but you got one now, and he's going to be around for a long time. So
absolutely.
I was going to say it took like 30 years to learn that you got to grow them on the farm. You can't go out and find a name, and that hardly ever works out.
No, you are absolutely spot on, though. Like, let's look at this. Let's think about this. All right, let's look at the top goalies in the league right now. Henrik Lundqvist, brought up in New York. Marty Brodeur, brought up in New Jersey. Mike Vernon, I believe, was...
No, he was a Flame before he was a Red Wing.
Okay, so he's a bad example. Who else? Mika Kiprasov was a homegrown goaltender.
Fleury.
Marc-Andre Fleury was a homegrown goaltender with Pittsburgh. So the teams that tend to have the most success with their goaltenders, Jonathan Quick is a homegrown goaltender.
Mm-hmm.
Marty Jones was, I believe, drafted by LA, but
Holtby.
either way, Holtby, homegrown. Like these guys have had success. The ones that are having the most success are the guys that have the homegrown goaltending, not just bringing in guys just to bring in a guy. And it pays huge dividends, especially moving forward.
Absolutely. Okay, so with that is the talk on the Twitter poll question. And one last thing we'll get to before the draft. Quick thoughts. Doc Emrick is retiring. So all I can say is, it's going to be tough to listen to hockey games without him. I hope they keep Eddie Olczyk because I actually like him on color. But I don't know what to say. It's going to be tough not hearing the voice of hockey in the United States. It really is going to be real tough because when you think of hockey, and you think of announcing, you think of Doc. You really do.
Makes me wonder if they're going to bring Gary Thorne back to NBC.
I hope. I would love to see Gary Thorne.
I know he's doing baseball games in Baltimore, but who knows? I mean, hockey doesn't really. It's not during baseball season.
Yeah,
it's true.
It's a possibility.
You got Steve Levy with ESPN now, so he's out.
Yeah, he's back. He's back with ESPN doing.
Good for him, though.
No, absolutely. Great for him because I actually enjoy his calls on ESPN during Monday night. But as far as Doc Emrick goes, he's. I want to say he's second to none, but he's not, in my opinion. There's one guy better, but he does Hockey Night in Canada. So if we're going to talk American, yeah, he's second to none. His calls were great. I loved the energy he brought to the broadcast. He never made the same call twice in a game.
No.
He never, and that I think is amazing considering, this how many synonyms he found for all these words. He'd say hit the iron, hit the post, hit the crossbar, hit the, whatever. He was a wizard with words, and he was amazing, and I had nothing but respect. Number 2 on my list. Number 1 is Jim Houston. He's my guy, but he was definitely going to be missed on the NBC calls for sure.
Absolutely.
I was just going to say that I agree with you, Brian. When you think of hockey, especially us in the Philadelphia area, following him from when he was the Flyers broadcast on Prism with Billy Clement. I really would have wished they could do one last game together. That would have been really cool. Hey, maybe it could still happen. Maybe they have Doc Emrick in on a Flyers broadcast with JJ and Clement, and you know what I mean? Like you see that happen. You saw that with Ben Scully after he retired. You know what I mean?
Hey, it could happen. Absolutely.
And I put Doc Emrick right on the same lines of Ben Scully because I watched that same interview, that little special about breaking down the vocab words and a million different ways to say the same thing. Truly exquisite man. You see a lot of guys in high profile jobs, in the broadcasting industry that we're all in, and you can always pick apart. You can never pick apart Doc.
Nah.
No.
And I know a lot of people don't like him, and I kind of could get it, but he's one of the best he's a Hall of Fame broadcaster. He spent some time here in Philly. He spent a lot of time with the Devils.
Mm-hmm.
He spent a lot of time on national TV.
We'll talk about that time.
Games.
I erased that from my memory.
Even though he would be clearly seen on NBC with the Stanley Cup ring from the Devils on his finger.
But the thing I loved about Emrick was his ability to paint a picture for you. Even if I wasn't watching the game, like I was off doing something else and I hear him in the background, I can perfectly picture what he is saying in my head because he painted a picture that was almost perfect. And not a lot of the other hockey commentators, not even a lot of the other sports commentators can paint a picture like that. I know of a couple, but I don't know. There's Doc Emrick was something special. He really was.
I agree. The Gator's right. Hockey is the hardest to do play-by-play for because it's so fast. You don't really have much time to process anything.
Mm-hmm. I've really come to admire, in terms of his skill, Kenny Albert.
Oh, yeah.
Kenny Albert's not bad, yeah.
He's not terrible. I mean, I think he does, 4 different sports? So I know he does football. I know he does hockey. I think he does baseball on a rare occasion, and I'm pretty sure he does basketball with his dad.
Now, if I could correct me if
But I'm
I'm
not
wrong,
sure.
but I think he does work with MSG Network. So I think isn't he part of doing sports commentating for MSG?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure about that.
Okay.
I mean, one would assume, right?
Oh, no. I thought that was Al Rosen still.
Well, he does the Rangers, but I was thinking
talking about the Islanders.
maybe. I'm not sure who does the Islanders commentary because I don't really listen to the
I
Islanders
know it's
games. all
Chico
that much.
Rush. I know Chico Rush is the commentator there. We know Chico at these parts.
Yeah.
Hey, Chico.
Hey, Chico.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
And-
not really sure, but I know Kenny does an okay job for the most part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough, man. It's going to be a void there for a while, and no one's ever going to fill his shoes, obviously. And hopefully one day, if we have if there's an award for best hockey broadcaster or something like that, call it the Doc Emmerich Award because he absolutely is deserving of that kind of an honor. To be completely honest with you.
Oh, absolutely. He's like I said, he's a legend. But I'll take his place. I'll do it.
So,
Somebody's got to.
So either way, though, what we're going to say is thank you, Doc. We wish you the best of luck in your post-career life, and Godspeed. Thank you very much for all of the great broadcasting you did for us for so long, and never showed any bias, not once. Never showed any bias during his
he never did.
broadcasts.
He never did. He gave the same enthusiasm to every team. To each team, it didn't matter. Any team that won the Stanley Cup, he gave you that same. I don't want to use the same word again, but I will. Enthusiasm through that. Like, you can honestly tell through his calls that he thoroughly, genuinely loved what he did, and that makes a huge difference.
We're lucky in Philly to have the best in all sports. Gene Hart, Jim Jackson, Harry Callis, Mark Zumoff, and Merrill Reese. All the best, if you ask me.
Hey, I can't disagree with that. I mean, for me, I loved Harry Callis. That was the voice of summer. That's how I knew it was baseball season and summertime. And, I grew up listening to HK and devastated when we lost him. I was just absolutely heartbroken and in shock for a long time. But I agree with that for the most part. Love Merrill Reese. I think he does a great job. He's another legend. They need to give him some national airtime. I think a lot of people would enjoy the way he paints the picture.
Well, Anthony says it best. Not like Troy Aikman and Joe Buck, who have tons of bias.
You know what's funny? Before we get started here, I don't know if I want to play Ralphie's game.
Oh, God. And Ralph is saying, which team did the Flyers play in their debut game? They played Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh, yeah. What was I going to say? I completely lost my train of thought.
I don't know.
God damn it, Ralph.
With that first comment from Ralph, it reminded me when watching that movie Unfriended. I was like, oh, God, he's coming for me.
It's Jigsaw.
You want to play a game? It was like Saw, too.
Yeah, it was
coming
Jigsaw.
off of Halloween. Don't fuck with me like that. Damn. Damn.
You're going to turn the corner and you're going to see Ralphie on a little tricycle.
Or when you hear the...
Do you want to play a game?
Oh, my God. Rodo, I think you know what to do with that one.
Do you want to play a game?
Brian, now I gotta damn it.
You just gave Rodo homework. And also, by the way, if with Ralph, it's like if you get a phone call from a mysterious number, you pick it up and it's like, hello. And it's Scream on the other fucking end.
You're not even going to get Scream. You're going to get... What's your favorite movie?
That is great. Oh, my God.
Love you, Ralph. Miss you, buddy.
Oh, all right then. So, with that, I think it's time that we get our draft underway, gentlemen. How about that?
That sounds great because I cannot remember what my thought was for the life of me right now.
All right. And, okay. So with that, we will need Mr. Brodo here to give us our draft order. So that way we can begin the festivities.
Okay, Mr. Daly, do you want to tell the viewers what you were discussing with me before the show? You know, some fears that you may had that I would put you last again.
Oh, it wasn't a fear. I figured it was common knowledge.
Well, once again, Mr. Daly, you're wrong.
I'm always wrong. I'm used to it by now.
I'm going to purposefully put you first. That way I can see you and I will have a front row view of you screwing up the number 1 overall pick. Once again.
Okay.
I would never.
Well, let's see. Let's see how a team with all the first round selections does. You will be the first overall pick.
The confidence in me, or the lack of confidence in me, is frightening.
Well, what do you expect? I mean, Jesus, it's not it's not nothing different.
Oh.
I think Brian finds your lack of faith disturbing.
Well, what else is new? I'm going to put Mr. Pove 2 and Mr. Sinsudi 3.
So I'm in a different place for the first. I love it.
Now I have to go put some people on Jigsaw's body with a tricycle.
Have fun with that, Berto. Please show us the results when it is complete.
Oh,
Okay.
I will.
Thank you.
We're
So,
gonna have
well-
another debut here on the Hockey Happy Hour tonight.
Yes, and thank you, Brian, because you're the one who inspired that. All
To be
right.
honest with you, the thought scares me. I don't know if I want to see what this thing looks like.
Well, if you think the thought scares you, wait till you see the actual image. So,
I'm not
Mr.
going to sleep tonight.
Mr. Daly, I believe it is your time now. It's time for you to lead us into our draft.
I'm not sure how I feel about the full frame here, but
I was doing it just to add a little tension.
with the number 1 overall selection, I select the great one, Wayne Gretzky.
Okay.
And I don't think I need to explain why.
No. I mean, if you did, that's when Rhoda was talking about you screwed it. If you picked anybody else but him, that's the only way you screw it up.
I mean, you could make an argument for one other guy, but
Yeah.
it's got to be the great one.
Yeah, it's got to be. I mean, the 80s were more of his heyday, but still over 1,000 points in the decade of the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. He did lose his scoring touch there towards the 90s, but man, he was still an assist machine when he went to the New York Rangers. He was still the best disher in the game.
Yeah, number 1 in with 763.
Yeah, absolutely. My stats don't seem to say that, but that's fine. What's it say? Oh, it just says the 90s. All right, so 878 and 640 games in the 90s. That's great. I mean,
Yeah,
it is what it is.
Chris saying, yeah, but he is from the 80s draft time. So he's giving you a little bit of shit for it.
Yeah, I mean, we're doing players just from that decade.
Yeah.
Ah!
Oh, it's kind of like Peter Griffin. Yeah.
Note gate.
You try to remember all these stats, Tom. Like,
Real quick,
it's not that easy.
I have a question for the Jigsaw puppet thing. The thing's
Sure.
name is Billy? The thing's
Yeah,
name?
that's the name of the puppet, Billy.
What?
The killer's name is Jigsaw. The puppet's name is Billy.
What?
Yep.
I'm disappearing now.
I
The
thought.
more you,
The more you know.
Man. I guess I didn't watch enough of their Saw movies to know.
It's okay. I mean, once you've seen like
I
two or
never
three,
do,
you've
don't
seen them
worry.
all.
Yeah, seriously, like I think I've seen up to like Saw 3, and there was what, like 35 of them.
You've seen them all, really. If you've seen the first 3, it doesn't have too many tricks up its
It's
sleeve.
like, 67 of them, and I only saw 3 of them. So it's like the Fast and the Furious movies. There's 89 of them, and I've only seen like 4.
And you're really not missing anything because they're all the same.
And I really wish I'd never watched Tokyo Drift because that was terrible. The other
Okay.
3 were okay, but Tokyo
That was the
Drift
one.
the worst.
That was the one that killed it for you.
Yep. All right, Maddie, you're up.
No, I'm not. It is Poe's turn because I
Ooh,
am
you're right.
last.
You're right. You're right. My apologies. My apologies.
It's time. We are now time to go into the wheelhouse of Mr. Rob Povia.
First time I've been monkey in the middle. Nice. No back-to-back picks. I could take smoke breaks. Woohoo! Yeah, I got to go for the best goal scorer in the decade. I'm going to go Brett Hull.
That's a good pick. I like that one.
I like my right wingers. That's been a trend throughout this draft series.
It really has been.
Hasn't it? It's a more scarce position if you look over, the wide scope of time. You know what I mean? There's lots of great goal-scoring left wingers. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Very hard on the right wing to get quality. Except the last draft we did, I noticed that I was like, geez, I went right wing early, and I'm like, there was so much quality like when we got into the later rounds. But
oh, absolutely.
But yeah, I gotta go Brett Hull. I mean, so many great years with the St. Louis Blues, and then finally winning a cup with the Dallas Stars. There's just I think gotta be the best goal scoring talent in the decade, especially on the power play. Pure out sniper. Game winner. You want when you have the game on the line, I'd be willing to bet that Brett Hull was tops in the leagues with game-winning goals. So.
Oh, yeah. From what I'm seeing here, he's 66. Only one that may have been higher was Yager.
Yeah.
Chris, just so you know, what we're doing here tonight, bud, is we're taking players from the decade of the 90s. So if a player played from 1990 to 1999, we're going to take a player within that region and build a team that way. Not necessarily from where these guys were drafted. Just a little clarity.
And I cheat a little bit. I include the 89-90 season and the 99-2000 because they played half of that season was played in the decade.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I mean, I don't, but that's not really cheating.
No.
I mean,
I like
for the most part. For the most part, besides rookies that may have debuted here or there, not much changed. The output of the players is pretty much the same.
No, pretty much. No, absolutely. Holy shit. Brett Hull had 176 power play goals?
Yeah. He was one hell of a power play specialist.
Wow.
Yep. And let's see, Gator saying Sakic was the best player of the 90s. Yeah, you can make an arguable case for that. There was a lot of great players in the 90s, and Sakic was right up there with them. All right, so it is my turn now, and I get to do a wraparound for the first time. Boy, this is exciting. Let's see here. So for me, my first pick, yeah, I know he was a big prominent player in the 80s, but it'd be kind of stupid not to have him because he did win 2 cups in the 90s, and that is Mario Lemieux. Yes, he did suffer an injury, but he came back from that injury. And yes, he may have retired in 97, but still, man, look at his stats for the years he played in the 90s. He was still a phenom. Every time he was on the ice, something happened. It was just the way he played, even after the cancer.
Yeah, I mean, he wound up finishing second all-time in points. That doesn't, and he did it in a short time, so that says a lot.
Yeah.
He did it in 1,000 games less than Wayne Gretzky.
And many argue to this day, and many argue that if Lemieux's career had not been cut short due to that injury, he may very well have surpassed Gretzky in some categories.
I'm saying that I'm with that group. I think that if he never gets sick, and he this is apparently a show of what ifs. If he doesn't get sick, who's to say? You know what I mean? He probably finds a way to get those 1,000 games back, and he pulls within. And I wound up doing the math on average. I think he pulled within like 15 points of Gretzky.
Yeah.
So just something to think about.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, you think of Mario, and Mario's Barry Sanders is Wayne Gretzky's Emmett Smith. It's a great metaphor.
It is a great one.
Right. And what I'll remember from his time in the 90s was the first player to be a player, GM, president. when he came back. So I mean,
That's true. That is very, very true.
Chucks, what's up, man?
What's up, Chucks?
My man
And-
Chucks.
As Chris Dunn was saying, all the highlights are of him destroying the Flyers for Mario. Unfortunately, that's what happens when you have a division rival gets a once in a generation player. Unfortunately, the same thing happens with Crosby too. What are you gonna do? You have to deal with that shit sometimes. And let's just be happy that Lafreniere didn't go to fucking Pittsburgh. They still went to the Rangers. God damn it! Why did he have to go in our fucking division? Couldn't go out west. Anyway, all
So
right.
my Be a Pro player was drafted by the Rangers. I tried to get traded today, but it didn't happen.
Oh
all
well.
I'll continue to break records. It's fine.
Oh, okay. So let's
All
see
right,
here. So
Maddie.
on my second go around, if I'm gonna pick Mario Lemieux, I gotta pick his right hand man. I gotta pick him for 2 straight drafts. One of my favorite players of all time, and that is Mr. Mullet Man himself, the ageless wonder Jaromir Jagr.
I knew you, motherfucker. I thought you were going for Yager first for a second. Then I was like, oh, yeah, Mario. And then you got them both to put them together. You sneaky little bitch.
Hell
like
yeah,
the
man!
style.
Put one of the best duos in the history of hockey together on my first line. I'm like, fuck it, just switch it to the orange and black instead of the black and gold and tell me the Flyers don't win 2 cups in the 90s. Fuck yeah, they do.
Maddie, that's how they call it, stealing the draft right there. I think you just won. I don't think we need to continue on making these teams, right? I mean, we
No,
can
I'll
wrap
still
up
be
right now.
No, I'll be him. Don't
All
you worry about that.
All right, cool.
Um,
Cool. I'm just going to have fun. I'm going to pick all my favorite players.
I'm beginning to wonder if Maddie's a closet Penguins fan. He's been picking a lot of Penguins in this draft series that we're doing.
Know thy enemy, and also be a respectable fan. Don't be one of those shitheels who try to say, oh, yeah, they're crap because they played for another team. Because you can use that to your advantage. When you're putting your fantasy team together, you can make your team better than the other team was. Hell yeah. You take advantage. That's what you got to do. You got to have knowledge.
All right, I'll give you that. That's a fair point. All right, Robbie, you're up, brother.
Got my eyes on this dude over here.
Definitely
I don't know. I think he might fold under questioning.
Maybe.
Oh, shit. All right, well, Gator almost gave my pick away, and it was a guy that I was actually debating, and maybe I was sleeping on Mario a little bit. I mean, I'm glad I went Brett Hull. I feel confident going Brett Hull above Mario just for the decade. We were talking the 80s, obviously different story, but yeah, that these were the 2 players that I was debating on going with my first pick, and I got to go Joe Sakic here with my second pick overall.
Good pick. Good pick.
Well, that makes my next pick fairly easy.
And I can play them together too. It's just match made in heaven, man. I mean, Sakic will be just setting up Hull for the one-timers all day long. I mean, going back to some of his stats here, 380 goals in the decade, for 2 shy of 1,000 points. A lot of helpers there, obviously. You do the math. Points per game, which is a target that a stat I often highlight. 1.28 behind Yager's 1.32. Just put some perspective there.
Yeah, I mean, I forget who said it. It was Gator Country, right? Who said Sakic was the best player of the 90s?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, Yager's up there too. Yager's got about 100 points on him. At least from the stats I'm looking at, which is from 90 to 99, or from the moment he stopped playing in the 90s, which was 725 games for Yager, 958 points to Sakic, 702, 896 points. You can make the argument for either guy. I mean, they were both phenomenal players in that time frame. All right, my turn. He took my guy. All right. Well, that some bitch took my guy, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to take I got a back-to-back. I can do this. I'm going to take a goalie. And I'm going to take Marty Brodeur.
Makes sense. you might as well take the best goalie available, and he is the best goalie available. Although this is one of the few times you can actually argue that he's one of the top goalies because there's 1A and 1B. In one of the
you
few,
could even argue
yeah,
1C, which is Dominik Hasek, whose
That's
heyday
true.
was during that time as well. So, that's I hear arguments all day and all night about who the best goalie is, and it's usually the three names. And there's a lot of guys from the past that could fall into that category, but they say Waz better than Brodeur because Waz had more cups, but Marty Brodeur has all the records, and that to me says a lot more than just being able to win more cups. He's got all the records. The records are all his.
I mean,
Most
to be
wins
fair,
by a goaltender, goals against average, save percentage. It was all, they were all his.
Tom Barrasso was probably the best American-born goalie at the time, if not Mike Richter. It's one of the two of
absolutely.
those.
No,
And
absolutely.
And when it comes to the only time you can really, and then the big argument is in 2001 when they met in the Stanley Cup Finals, Patrick Waugh outdueled Marty Brodeur and won the cup with the Colorado Avalanche, which a lot of people try to refer to as, well, that proves that Waugh was better than Brodeur because he beat him in a Stanley Cup Final, which creates even more of a great argument between the two, actually, when you get right down to it.
Yeah. All right. So my next pick, Don, where are you at? Don, you still here?
Oh, boy, you're giving a shout-out to the Red Wings. Oh, boy, here we go.
Here you go. Here you go, Don. This one's for you, buddy. I got to take one of the best Red Wings of all time. And that is Stevie Y.
Steve Yzerman. There you go.
Yup.
One of the best
Y.
captains. Yep.
Oh, Rob just sent me something. This makes me kind of nervous. Oh, it's a cricket.
Nope. No. Zoom in on that bitch. I thought it was one of those like spidery looking cave crickets too, and then all of a sudden I'm like, that shit's got fangs and 8 legs.
Oh, it's a spider.
Yes, sir.
I haven't seen it yet. My computer's taking forever to load it.
I ruined the surprise.
That's a big boy.
I killed that shit with stealth quickness.
No, that's a recluse spider too. So it's a good thing you killed that thing. That thing's got some. Ooh, that's a big boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's send that to Tom.
Oh, that's cruel. Oh, man.
I find those spiders in my room all the time. They don't bother me.
Oh, yeah, sure you do.
I just get my shoe, boof. That thing's dead.
All right, it's on me, boys.
Yes. Damn, that is a huge spider. Holy shit.
You got it too, Maddie?
Well, Brodo just put it up on the screen.
Oh, yeah, there it is. Oh, my God.
That's a big motherfucker.
It's a big dude.
That shit probably would have killed you if it bit you. Holy shit.
Yup. It's fucking dog-eat-dog world, man. He had to die. You had to
go. Don't know if you heard, Robbie. Just so you know, I took Brodeur and Stevie Y.
Brodeur and Stevie Y, 2 great picks. Went for the goaltender early there, but, smart decision. Smart decision. Can't go wrong with Hall of Famer. I'm gonna continue along my offensive powerhouse first line and add Luc Robitaille.
Luc Robitaille.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Good pick. Good pick. And sometimes he doesn't get his song sung nearly as much because he played for the Kings for a long time, and that was obviously the team that drafted him. And then, he went to the Rangers, didn't fit there, went back to L.A., and he was one of the major players that helped with, Gretzky needed players to play with him, and Robitaille was the guy,
A big benefactor of Gretzky's shift to the assist, later in his career. Actually second in the decade behind Brett Hull with 409 goals. Goes to show Brett Hull had 536, that much of a lead. But what's impressive was with those goals, Luc Robitaille was a plus 84 during the decade.
Damn.
So good defensive guy, got back, after joining the Rush, obviously. And, definitely not a fan favorite of mine, playing against him. But how can you not respect his game?
No, absolutely. We're going to come up with a lot of names here, boys, that we're not going to like. But you got to respect most of these guys. You got to respect most of these guys.
What are you going to do? Let's see. Next up, so it'll be my turn. Okay, this will be interesting.
get-
So
Dos, senor.
next one for me. He is available, and I'm gonna take him to be the left winger on my top line, working with Lemieux and Yager. That is Johnny Leclerc.
I feel like that's
son of a bitch.
I
I
created
feel like
a
that's blasphemous.
proto version of the Legion of Doom. That's the kind that you would rig your NHL game in, where you would be the Flyers and you're like, okay, we'll get John Leclerc still, and we're just gonna get Lemieux and Yager instead, and we're gonna put them on the team.
I feel like that's just blasphemous.
What the hell?
Here.
I don't know.
In case
Maybe
you didn't notice, I'm giving you the little girl death stare from WWE. You son of a bitch. You
Does
took
that-
Johnny from me, possibly my favorite hockey player of all time.
I don't know
All
why you didn't
time.
take him.
Took him early too. Mother. Respect.
respect, he says. Yeah, Gator Country.
Why
I
did I go
totally
Luke
agree.
Robitaille? Should have just got Leclerc and locked it up. Damn it.
Listen, you say what you want. I think Robitaille had a better career than Leclerc, and Leclerc had a good career.
Yeah.
Stats or no
But that's just
stats,
me.
still, it means more when you piss somebody off when you take a player. It just means so much more.
I like Chris's comment there. He said he's my favorite player, but wow, that's high. Love it.
I don't care. I don't care. I got fucking Lemieux and Yager, so it doesn't matter. I could have put fucking a schlub in left wing, and we still would have had one of the top scoring lines in the NHL. I don't give a shit.
And just like Field of Dreams, everybody's healthy here. You get Lemieux with no Hodgkin's lymphoma.
There you go.
True.
Right? It's fair.
True.
That's very fair.
Fuck
Ricky's
cancer,
showing
by the way.
absolutely. Ricky with the love that Maddie saying he's got
You know what
another
I learned
solid top
today?
line.
Thank
You
you,
know,
Rick.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Brian. Yeah,
No,
it's
you're
solid top line. I learned today that Martinez lost both of his parents to cancer.
Oh.
Really?
Yeah, I knew what's it called? I knew his mom passed earlier this year, part of the
Yeah.
tragedy that's 2020, and of course, me and Brian relate to that. But yeah, his dad passed away 4 years ago from it as well. So
Oh.
it's just
If Jason's listening, man, that's harsh, man. Nothing but condolences to you, man.
Yeah, man.
Oh,
Prayers.
it's rough.
But he put it on a tweet about Oscar Lindblom and the hope that he generates. You know what I mean? So it was a wonderful tweet he put out. Check it out.
Absolutely. He used to pick up John Leclerc's trash when he works for the Havertown Township. Oh, wow. I would have probably gone through it. I'm a creep like that.
Did you ever try
I'm
to
just
approach John Leclerc and have him sign it? You ever
Sir, can you sign this soda can?
that you drank out of? Not trying to be creepy or anything.
That's stalker shit. Leave that to me.
All right, Matt, you got another pick here, bro.
I do, don't I? All right. I was just so thrilled with that one. I totally fucking forgot. Okay, so I'm going to take another left winger. And I'm taking Paul Correa.
You're a fuckhead, you know that? Like, die right now. Burn.
I'm a ginger. I can't burn.
That's
Unless
why you
I'm in
have
the
no
sun.
soul. No,
Yeah.
you have no soul. I'm pretty sure he's just building a team out of spite.
I am, and
Wow.
I'm enjoying it. I'm pissing off Flyers fans by having Lemieux and Yager. I've got Leclerc, so I pissed Pove off, and I got Correa, and I pissed you off. I have everybody hating me. I have accomplished something. You know how you have in PlayStations and in Xboxes the achievement and the trophy come up? I think that should come up right now.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay. I'm gonna play your little game, little man. It's okay. It's okay. I know
It's true,
exactly where I'm going next now.
True, because I actually am little, so it actually fits perfectly.
Live from Scarface.
The hatred is
I love it.
I'll remember that. I'll remember that.
Oh, I love it.
I'm a spiteful bitch. I'm going to tell you that right now. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah. Good. I've inspired you to. Now go out and try to make the best team.
Rob, you're up. Oh, my team is already better. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Mm-hmm.
My next 2 picks, you ain't going to stop me. Let's go, Robbie. You're up, brother.
I'm not going to get in your way because now I'm just trying to peg off Matt's guys. That's all I'm going to do now. And with my next pick, I am going to pick good old JR, Jeremy Roenick.
Roenick. Okay.
Right.
I see what you're doing. You hit me with a low blow there because Roenick was one of my favorite Flyers. I got you. I hear you.
That's right. Read the name. Spiteful bitch. I got you. Don't worry. I got you.
Maybe a bit of a reach for me, but not as far as a reach for Leclerc because he's still 9th in goals in the decade. And Jeremy Roenick, a high-scoring pretty boy on the winger, plus 129 in the decade. But a lot of that was just from the goal scoring that was going on in Chicago.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a huge reach, but it is a bit of a reach. I mean, he's even reaching on Korea because he didn't come into the league until 93, 94. He didn't really take off until about 98, 99 towards the end of the decade. And then you really saw him take off, especially when it's a reach. But
I don't know. He's pretty high up here from what my stats are saying. And I'm looking at a year from 95, 96.
Okay, and?
Just saying. He didn't more than 99, 98 there. Just saying.
I'm saying he didn't hit his prime until then. Stats say otherwise. But, you can have him. And you know why? Because I'm going to have Ray Bork.
Okay.
I'm going to add him on my blue line. Berto, you seem like you want to say something.
No, I was just seeing if anyone needed a ruling. That's all. It seemed like somebody needed a ruling.
No, we're good.
I think bitter would be the ruling.
I noticed.
Oh, it's definitely bitter. And you know what? No, I'm not going to do that yet.
Instead of a judge, let's call Brodo a majesty.
Magistrate Brodo.
I think some people will know what I'm talking about. I know Tommy will know what I'm talking about. Strange phone calls.
Oh, yeah, I saw that earlier. That was pretty funny. All right. So with my second pick here, if my computer decides to load, there we go.
Loading.
Surprised he's still up here. I'm going to take my first right winger, and I'm going to take Mark Recchi.
Yeah. Damn it. Good pick.
We know what Mark Recchi does. We got to see him a long time here. 864 points in the decade from 90 to 99. 104 power play goals, 50 game winners, came in the clutch a lot. Knew how to pass the puck, had a plus 12 in the span of a year or 10 years. So let me get Recchi. I got Recchi and Gretzky together.
All right, then.
You're up, Robbie.
I like you. Make this quick. It's a guy that I skimmed over, but I'm glad I came back to. We'll go with Adam Oates.
Adam Oates.
That's a great pick.
That's a very good pick. Talk about a guy who never gets enough appreciation for how good he was.
Certainly, just hands, for days. 749 assists. Also 2 points shy of 1,000 for the decade, along with Joey Sakic. So that makes I'm strong down the center now with Sakic, Roenick, and Oates. I like that a lot.
It's all right. I got one in mind. Hopefully, Maddie doesn't steal him from me either.
Okay. So it's my turn, right?
Si, senor.
Okay, then. So on the defense for me, so my first pick here, defensive-wise, this one was going to be tough because there were a lot of good D-men at the time in the NHL. But I think at the end of the day, Yeah, I think I'm going to have to. Yeah, I'm just going to go with them. Now I'm going to go with Scott Niedermayer.
All right, this dude. You're gonna get drop kicked through the screen tonight, bro. I'm telling you.
So, yeah, Scott Niedermayer for the first pick. Let me see here. What else to take on the defensive side? Might as well get my first defensive pairing out of the way. You know what? I'm not picking him. There's one guy I will not pick in this draft. And go Adam Foote.
Yeah, I was gonna say you brought him up before.
I did. There's one player I'm not taking. There is one player.
I know exactly who that player is, and
everybody should know who that player is. Rob definitely knows who that player is.
I might have to take him just out of spite, just to run down your top line there.
Yeah.
Take my favorite player.
For me, it could be one of two, but I know who you're talking about, Maddie. I for surely do. Well, again, Maddie, you're doing great draft, man. Like these draft series, man. Like maybe we need to get you back into fantasy hockey because this is great draft strategy. You're creating a nice trend here. Obviously, I got to go with a defenseman right now because of you going back to back there, and I'm going to sweep a guy that I had. Maybe I was going to wait on him because I could have got him like maybe even a little bit later, but I want him now. I'm going to take Brian Leach. Another example of a guy that absolutely hated playing against, but how can you not admire his game? One of the best that did it. I mean, I could give stats for days, but I don't want to bore you all. And Brian Leach just he wears your team sweater. He's instant love affair. You know what I mean? And the Ranger fans know what I'm talking about there.
Well, I mean, this makes me feel better about taking my next two guys. Brian Leach was great. He was on my radar. I was hoping somebody was going to flip over him. But it makes me feel better about taking the next two I got. With the next pick, and I'm surprised he's still on the board, how can you not take number 11, Mark Messier? So down the center, Rob, you want to talk about having a good, solid three centers?
Lay it on me.
You do. You have a great one. I got Gretzky, Yzerman, and Messier.
Ooh.
Talk about being strong down the center.
Oh, yeah. That is definitely strong down the center.
And then with my next pick, I'm going to take Korea's partner in crime in Teemu Selanne with 729 points in the span of a decade. A plus 55. 106 power play goals. 46 overtime winners. 235
John is
even
happy.
strengths.
John's happy somebody finally took Messier.
Oh, agreed. Like I said, the fact that I scroll down and I'm like, oh, he's still there. All right, come on, he's a top 5 goal scorer of all time.
Yeah, I mean, a great player along the same ilk with Gretzky, where if it was an 80s draft, they're both going in the first round. You know what I mean? Whereas Gretzky still went in the first round because he certainly continued dominance on a different foot. Messier certainly dominant in the first half of the decade, leading the Rangers to that cup. Maybe his game starts to slip there. I believe he was a little older of a player than Gretzky. Even with that same Oilers team. So, I mean, maybe he slipped a little bit. It definitely got to grab him by this point. It's a fine pick.
Robbie, I believe they were the same age. Where the hell did he go?
Are they the same age?
Yeah, both born in 1961.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, Gretzky just wore it way better.
Actually, that's
got that leather face like me.
That's true. That's absolutely true. Not everybody can be that baby face like me.
Truth be told. All right, with my next pick, I'm gonna continue to just troll Maddie with his type of picks and go
Sure.
for my second. Short my top pairing on the defense. I'm gonna go Al McGinnis.
Go one.
No doubt about it, man. I mean, like you look at all of his defensive stats, plus 210. Plus fucking 210. Not the best in the decade, but that's showing some biasness here to allude to Maddie's previous tease before. But second in the decade, and you want to talk about heaviest shot, dude won at the All-Star competition every year. So firing it from that point, 95 to 100 miles an hour, I gotta take Al McGinnis right now.
Oh, absolutely.
All right. So now my turn, and I'm going to take a goalie here. And since Brodeur is off the board, I will be taking Patrick Waugh.
That makes things a little difficult for me.
So Patrick Waugh will be my starter. And let's see here. Next up, need to take someone who would work. You know what? I think I will take him for my right wing on my second line. I'm going to take Alexander McGillney.
Ooh, I just thought of a great player. All right. Thank you for that, Maddie. You just made me think of somebody really good.
You're welcome. And I also want to give a shout out to Anthony, who put McGillney's name out there. So thank you, Anthony, for inspiring that last pick there.
Before we go on to Robbie's pick here, you got any other comments?
Yeah, we have a few. Let me see. A lot of talk between Chris and Gator. Actually, apparently, they grew up in Havertown. So hey, there you know, we're bringing people together.
Together.
Let's see here. What else we got? Yeah, just Anthony saying no feds or Nui either. He's a little upset about that. Gator was saying.
Time out real quick.
Yeah.
I just got a notification. We got a little bit of breaking news here. The NBA tentatively agreed to start the NBA season on December 22nd and have agreed to a 72-game season.
Okay. So 10 less than what they usually play, and they'll start a little bit before hockey season. So it'll actually be in reverse. Usually the NBA starts a little later than hockey season. So
NBA starting December 22nd on a 72-game season.
All right, then.
That's according to TSN. Just so you guys know, I'm not making it up. It's TSN.
Gotcha.
All right.
The foremost expert in basketball.
And then, so let's see here. Anthony was saying even Tanguay was better than Leclerc. Okay, that's a little harsh, but all right. Chris then also said, let's see. He also said Paul Coffey, Ray Bork, Scott Stevens, defenseman. And by the way, I'm not going to mince words. Stevens is the one I refuse to fucking pick. And
I have Ray Bork, just so you know.
Yes. No one has taken Coffey yet, but to be fair, this is kind of getting towards the twilight of Coffey's career. Albeit he still had some very good years in the 90s. He trailed off there towards the end of the decade. Let's see here.
I agree with Ricky and Gator Country there. Go ahead, Robbie.
Alex Tanguay with a career-high goals of 29 in 2005 and 6 in comparison to Johnny Leclerc, who had 550 goals seasons. What?
Yeah, I know. I don't know if Anthony's a big Leclerc fan.
What?
He also went on to rip me a little bit further, saying there is players better than Leclerc, especially this early. I'm not saying that there aren't better players than Leclerc. I just wanted to pick Leclerc. That's just how it is.
It's like the Eagles drafting Hurts in the second round. It wasn't the best pick. It was the pick they wanted to make.
Don't bring that up again.
See, what happened was so-and-so said this, but then, Howie Roseman was like, you know what? I think I might be able to do better. Let's get Jalen Hurts. No. That's not better. That's not better. That's not better.
Let's
That's
see.
not better. Total Howie move.
And
Total Howie
Anthony,
move on your part.
and Anthony is saying Luke also played in Edmonton with Wayne. And
Did.
Did
I
he?
think everybody at one point played with Wayne in Edmonton.
I know Robitaille and Gretzky played in LA together. They played in Edmonton together too. I did not know that.
we'll look that up. Let's see. Gator was saying, yeah, Leclerc lived on Golf Course Road. So apparently he lived in a town that they were growing up in. So there's interesting news. So there you go. Let's see. He also said, yeah, Tocchet and Zezel, Proper, Dave Poulin, and Dave Brown. So I guess he's going through some of his favorite Flyers there. A lot of them 80s ones. Let's see.
I love that comment by John. That's great. Says, come on, guys, let them pick so we can rip them. No giveaways. Love it. I love it.
I've only given away that one, and it's one player that I'm not picking. So don't worry. Don't worry.
Yeah, but there's been a lot of suggestions. Like, when Gator said Sakic, I got nervous. I'm like, no, Maddie's gonna take him now, mother-fucker.
No, because I was trying to have a duo. I was trying to pick line mates over I guess the equal level player available. And let's see here. Kane's 2010 saying we lost Peter Forsberg. I guess he was referring to the poll. And Gator saying he didn't play much. He might be talking about Coffee. Yeah, he was talking about Coffee because he also said Coffee was a forward. Let's be real, which he was. There wasn't much in the defensive aspect of Coffee's game when he was a defense. Let's see.
Wow, Leclerc has a great plus minus as well. Plus 193. Well, again, a lot of goals being scored. When he scored 40 plus in 5 straight and three seasons of 50 goals. You know what I mean? That's a lot for your plus minus.
So out of curiosity, whose turn is it?
I think it is Rob's. I was just going through some of the comments. So keep them rolling in. We've got plenty of players being brought up. So
yeah, I just forgot whose turn it was.
Yeah, no, you said Maddie before Rob's next pick. Why don't we read off some comments? I recall.
Yeah, I forgot.
It was just a pro radio move. I was like, that's my boy right there. Making a nice segue for comments.
And
always.
And before we run in, we have a commenter in that we haven't seen yet, and that is Sun Gold Halo saying Philly Fanatics, and she went on to say sorry about the Flyers. Thank you. I guess maybe talking about the Flyers getting eliminated in the second round this year, or maybe the Flyers not winning a cup in the 90s. But either way, we appreciate the apology. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
All right, then.
If it's the prior, hey, we got what we expected from this team. They're on the way up.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All righty. With my next pick, I will go for my number one goaltender, and I'm going Eddie the Eagle here.
Ooh,
okay.
That's a very under the radar move.
Sneaky. Like it.
Yes. I had 2 sneaky guys, and I was like, I could wait on them, but now that Waugh's off the board, Brodor's off the board. How can I argue with a 908 save percentage and a 242 goals against during the decade? And he just, again, one of my favorite players. Play like I can't remember a goaltender that could make saves on a breakaway better than Eddie Belfour.
Eddie Belfour, he had the nickname the Eagle for a reason. He was great. He soared. John, thanks as always, brother. Appreciate all the support you give us. Can't wait to hear you rip us. So,
thank you, John.
Yeah, man.
Sweet dreams, man.
Hey, always fire those criticisms in the comments tomorrow. They'll pop up on notifications for anybody that shared the show, and I know I get them at least. And I often want to go back through some comments and give love to ones that I missed live on air because I'm dilly-dallying with stats in front of me. Hashtag it all notes.
Hashtag all notes. I'm all notes too, so don't feel too bad. It's a lot of stuff to remember, but that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
It's fine to have the stats just to read off interesting tidbits. but these are all gut feel picks at this point because this is going into. I mean, maybe Matty less, because now he's talking about guys that he less experienced live. You know what I mean?
Maybe, yeah.
I mean, still a little bit. I mean, we're not quite. I mean, I don't want to make him out to be as young as young Brodo there, but
I
you're
can't
a
say that
between me and Brian.
Yeah, I couldn't really say that I knew much about the Legion of Doom because I don't. I missed that era because hell, it ended after '97 because Redenberg got traded. So it's like I missed that part. I caught the Keith Primo era of the Flyers. I missed the Lindros part of the Flyers. So
hey, I got to experience it, but the bright spot is you'll live longer than me.
I don't know if that's a bright spot, but okay.
For you.
This show just took a really morbid turn, really, really quickly.
Yeah. I don't know.
Stop it. That's my humor.
I don't want to go into that stuff. No one dies. It's like a soap opera. We don't write people off the show. We keep them on there.
I love whenever I do Matt Hardy's delete, I bite my bottom lip like a true giddy. It's fucking awesome. There it is.
Oh my god, that's great. And all right, so Robbie made his pick. So now it is your double pick, my mans.
And the spiteful bitch is going to take the guy that you won't. And he's one of the best shutdown defensemen of all time.
He's a fucking thug.
In Scott Stevens. Yeah, that plus 229 says otherwise.
Still a fucking thug.
The dude was a shutdown defenseman, and the dude was a hazard from the blue line with that puck. 399 points in the span of a decade, 81 goals, 318 assists. Dude knew how to throw his body weight around, and I'm going to make sure he throws his body weight extra hard against your team. And with my second pick, I'll incentives, baby. I'll pay him.
That'll be a bounty system, which you can get in trouble for.
I'll take the fines.
Okay.
I'll take it. Told you, I'm spiteful.
They might actually banish him from the league then.
With my next pick, I'm going to take a very under-the-radar move. Maybe a little higher than I should, but in the span of the 90s and early 2000s, he was a stud. And he should have been a stud until his knee injury, and that's Pavel Bure. Take the Russian Rocket as my third line right winger.
Good pick. Good pick.
All right, Robbie, your turn again, brother.
Man, you made me think of another guy. I was all set to fire this guy. You know what? I'll wait on him then, and I'm going to go up. I don't believe another Russian has been taken in Theo Fleury, has he?
No, he hasn't.
Yeah, I'll go Theo Fleury. Speed demon. Pure fucking speed. Oh, you got some speed, man? Yeah, Theo Fleury's got lots of speed. Talk about productivity on the ice, 375 goals, 590 assists, good for 884 points. I don't think there was, talking about speed skating contest during the All-Star game, prolific in the 90s. It goes to show that you look at his even strength points versus his power play points, he has 40 more points beyond the mean. So, 553 even strength, 290 power play, respectively. Could do it all, man. Very disappointing that, to the Rangers, celebration, Theo Fleury didn't get himself a cup.
Yeah, that was a shame. He suffered some issues off the ice, too, as well, with drug addictions and all that other fun stuff, too, which was very unfortunate. But, he should have won a cup or two. That's a great pick, though.
I think I'm correct in saying this, that it doesn't really matter when that lifestyle brought you to Anna Kournikova. Weren't they going at, or was that Pavel Bure? I know it was one or the other.
Well, Pavel's brother Valerie married and is still married to DJ Tanner.
Yeah.
And she's aged wonderfully, by the way.
Oh yeah.
I think Theo Fleury had Anna Kournikova, that
Yeah.
lucky son of a bitch.
Yes, Rob picked Adam Oates.
How is he still on the board?
Let's see here. Okay, so my turn now. And I think guy to center, my second line. I'm gonna put Ronnie Francis here.
Oh, look, another Penguin. I think you're onto something here, Brian.
I'm telling you. Closet Penguins fan.
You
Click
see
off
anything
converted
else?
them.
Hey, listen, I said closet. It doesn't mean you ain't got no jersey sitting in that closet back there.
Uh-huh.
I see
You guys
the
are
Flyers
just,
ones.
it's just, bitterness and jealousy is not a good color on you motherfuckers, man. You need to grow up just a little bit.
I don't want to.
All right, let's see here. Next up for me. So let me see. I need a left winger. Left winger on my third line. I'm going to go Keith Tkachuk.
Nice. With Ronnie Francis, too, to back up a step, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't he have lots of successful years? Either was it with the Islanders besides the Penguins, or certainly with the Hurricanes after the Penguins?
Hartford.
It was Hartford before the Penguins.
Yeah.
Right. You know, they talk about like equivalent success. Like Penguins was only like half his career. You know what I mean? That just goes to show how good of a player Ronnie Francis was.
And he's a good GM, right? Or coach. Coach. That's
He's
right.
a GM now. He's going to be the GM of the Seattle Kraken.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He's not a bad GM either.
Wow. I got my next pick. She got my next two. Yep.
All right. I think I got to shift back to my defense right here. I'm getting greedy offensively. Yeah. And yeah. So should I? Let me see where his power play goals is there.
Well, while you're doing that, Chris Dunn was saying first captain of the Hurricanes, I think, and I do believe you are right. Ron Francis was the first captain of the Carolina Hurricanes.
Yep.
Ironically, though, his second stint with that organization because he was with the Whalers before.
Yeah, my brother has a Whalers jersey upstairs. He wanted to get a Ron Francis lettering put on it, which I don't blame him.
Yeah, I mean, I would have to say during the Whalers period, besides the Howe thing, when they had that back in the day, Ron Francis would have to be one of their best players of all time in terms of just strictly Hartford Whalers.
Yeah.
Correct. I changed my mind. I'm glad you went into that, Maddie, because I remembered back to a guy that I had in my queue, a guy that I could put on the right wing with Adam Oates, and that's Alexander McGillney.
Wham, wham.
Nope, I took him.
Did you? Motherfucker. All right, I gotta get another beer and take a sip for that air.
He's a dirty bitch.
My pick. All right. No, I wouldn't. Yeah, I'm gonna wait on that. All right. Well, then I clearly got to go defenseman here. I'm gonna go Steve Duchesne.
Great pick.
Pulled that one right out of my ass, didn't I? Boom. He was definitely on my list of offensive defensemen to grab, you know, and a little homerish, you know.
A little bit, but it's okay. I mean, I took the homer move in Timo Solani, so.
Yeah, but I mean, 164 goals, you know, to Al McGinnis's decade-leading 203, and you know, certainly a fine guy to put on the left side, second D man, you know, behind Brian Leach and Al McGinnis. Yeah. That definitely fits my motif of guys I like.
Mm-hmm. My guy, Prism. Chrome, we saw you dropping in too, brother. So, I don't know how Maddie's going to feel about this next pick of mine.
Well, we're going to find out.
And this is really super ironic considering what we were talking about before the draft and the fact that he's still on the board right now.
You're taking him. You're taking him.
My fourth line center is going to be Eric Lindros.
Eric Lindros. Okay.
On the same team as Scott Stevens.
That's ironic. Very ironic.
Isn't it? Surprisingly,
ironic.
he was the main topic of our poll question, and he just got taken now. And with my second pick, I'm going to go defense on this side, and I'm going to take another flyer, and I'm going to take my favorite flyer of all time, Eric Desjardins.
It's a good pick. Good pick. Great offensive play and good defenseman on top of it. As if you already talked about this, fellas, but with the NBA looking like it's kicking off 12/22, any idea when the NHL may return to play? Mid to early January. That's what we're looking at.
Yeah, nothing's been official yet, Chrome, but yeah, that's the ballpark is somewhere between early to mid-January.
About 10 rounds.
Yeah.
10 rounds, Priz.
Yeah, I was going to say, guys, for the
good.
guys that are just coming in, do you guys want to do like a real quick recap of the people you have on your team so far?
Hell
Absolutely. Yeah. All right, then. So who's Bri, you just went, right?
Yeah, so can I go first?
Yeah.
All right, so far I need to work on left wingers here. I don't have any. But so far I have the great one, Wayne Gretzky with Mark Recchi. I have Steve Yzerman with Teemu Selanne. Mark Messier with eventual line partner, Pavel Bure. Eric Lindros to fill out my fourth line center. On defense, I have Ray Bourque, Scott Stevens, Eric Desjardins, and in net, I have Marty Brodeur. Ooh, now that I say that roster out loud, that's scary.
It's nice. It's nice.
All right, then. So I'll go next here. My team. First line for me, left winger, Johnny Leclerc. Just despite Rob. Center, Mario Lemieux. Right wing, Jaromir Jagr. Line 2, left wing, Paul Kariya, just despite Brian. Center, Ron Francis. Right wing, Alexander McGillney. Third line, left winger, Keith Tkachuk. And on my defensive side, I only have one pair so far, and that's Scotty Niedermayer and Adam Foote. And my starting goaltender is Patrick Waugh.
Right on. Yeah, you'll have to excuse me for that McGillney pick. I did drink for it, by the way, Maddie, just to be official.
It's all right, man. It happens.
I'm a little more out of it for this show because I'm celebrating. I'm celebrating the true winner of the election, and that's marijuana. Yay.
Well said. Well said. And by the way, Priz was saying, so
Maddie, you're muted.
That was Pove when he got the results from
Oh, that's fucking brilliant. Priceless. Well played, Mr. Brodo. Well played.
That gives me such a great idea for a post. Thank you, Brodo.
That's why I'm here.
True. And Prism
I'm either going to use that clip of me, or I'm going to use the Metcalf chasing down Buda Baker, where how can I put it? Put on the title like legalization of weed, and then like freaking buds and fucking I don't know. I'll think of something. It'll write itself though. That's for sure.
And
Yep.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna go through Priz real quick. He was just saying, so was Gretzky was first or was Mario? And the answer is Gretzky. That was the first pick in this draft.
Yeah, Mario wound up going what, like top 5?
3.
3? He did go 3?
Yep.
Oh yeah, you did take him 3.
Yeah,
Yep.
he went Mario Yager 3-4 on the wraparound. Yeah, that was wise. Very smart. Very smart.
All right, I got Scott Stevens. I'll muscle him.
You know, picking in the middle this time has been strange. This is the first time for me in our draft series, but I like the team that it's put together so far. My top line is Joe Sakic centering Luc Robitaille and Brett Hull. Second line so far, I have Roenick centering with Theo Fleury. I got Adam Oates as my center iceman on my third line. I'm about to get my fourth line centerman after I read off my team with my next pick. On the defense, I got Brian Leach and Al McGinnis. The top pairing, second pair so far, Steve Duchesne, and my goalie is Eddie Belfour. And with my next pick, hopefully Maddie didn't say him already, Mike Madonna. Mike Madonna.
I did not take Mike Modano.
See, what's funny, Brian, was I thought you were going to go Madonna, and that was going to clear the way for me getting Lindros on the fourth line. But I like that you went for him because certainly apropos to the poll question before and the value that we placed during that discussion.
Yeah,
gotta go Madonna now though. You know, I mean, Jesus, that's fourth line center. That completes it right there.
Greatest American-born player.
Yep, we talked about last show. That's right.
Yep.
Me. So
doesn't make it hurt any less.
And the team he played for, both in Minnesota and Dallas, had green in it.
Hey.
And Prism saying you're not pulling Oates and Hull in the same line, Pove. You know how lethal that combo is.
I could do that. I mean, that's certainly a possibility. You know, I guess I just put it in draft order, so to speak. But you know, shit, man, I could slide Sakic off. You know what? I'm gonna follow that advice, dude. That's smart. I'm gonna take Sakic off that, put Oates up there, and now I can build around Sakic with some quality left wingers and right wingers that remain. I like that.
Okay, so let me see here. So real quick, some of these comments. Chrome was saying, "My boy, the ageless wonder, Jaromir Jagr." Thank you, Chrome. And he said, "So perfect to the memories." And Prism was also saying, "I was waiting for a Sinead O'Connor song at the end of that video."
That's funny. That's funny. Nothing compares to the legalization. That's right. You know what? Change that thought. Hold that thought for a second. I think I might put Sakic. I might slide him on the left wing and play him with Roenick and Theo Fleury.
Ooh, interesting.
I like that. I like that a lot.
I like it a lot.
I like it a lot.
And Prism, Rob went number 2, and I do believe was your first pick Brett Hull? I think it was.
Correct.
Yep. Okay, then. So I believe it's Bry's turn, right?
I think it's your turn.
Do a count.
Good
How many
point.
players you got, Brian?
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Maddie?
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, yeah, it is my turn. All right. All right. So, besides my terrible math skills, my pick here, start things off with, you know what? I'm going to take him as a defenseman. I'm going to take Chris Chelios.
You know, sometimes you really are a scumbag. You know that?
You knew I wasn't taking him. I threw a battery at his head during a game.
That's right.
For what he did the prop.
That was a pretty nasty hit.
Yes, sir.
And then Hexy jumped his ass too.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But I mean, you can't argue. I mean, you're talking about a guy who played for Team USA. You know, I mean, what's we call it? Just a perennial all-star in the league. You know, Olympian, I should say. So, I mean, I'm surprised he dipped this far, actually.
I'm just gonna put it to you this way, Maddie. If you take another one player off my radar, I will pull a Hexy and we'll reenact that.
Well, then
That
just
little
take Hexy.
stunt.
Take Hexy. Take Hexy with your next pick. That way you can make it all
Don't
perfect.
tell me what to do. You don't know me. Don't tell me what to do.
Don't tell me how to live my life.
Let's see. Next up for me, I'm going to finish up my left winger's position, and at line 4, I'm going to put Peter Nedved here.
Nedved.
Peter
Underrated.
Nedved.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
Sometimes I feel like he's a player that we don't talk about enough, but he was a very, very good player in his time. Just a shame that, kind of dipped off towards the end there.
Yeah, he was a Flyer at the end of his career, was he not?
Yes.
At some point, I remember him being a Flyer.
100%.
Yeah. Now you're going to hate me for this. Guess what team drafted him and he played for to start his career?
I'm listening.
Pittsburgh.
Dude, I'm telling you, this dude's a Pittsburgh fan.
He played for the Flyers, so it evened it out. Anyway,
and you have John LeClaire who played for the Penguins too. What's your point?
But he played for the Flyers mostly. He played
Mark
for the Penguins
Recchi played
the
for the
end.
Penguins too.
Yeah, but I have him.
Yeah.
So there you go. Maybe you're a closet Penguins fan. You've ever thought about that?
No.
Actually, no, you're a closet Sharks fan. But anyway.
I don't have any Sharks on my roster. I might have one after my next pick. We'll see.
Yeah, but that's a great cover. Anyway.
Meanwhile, the last show we did, 95% of my roster were Ducks. So, to your theory.
And to your theory right back, good sir.
My finger's getting tired from flipping you off all the time.
I know. It's beautiful, isn't it?
All right. Robbie, you're up, brother.
All right. Time to go back to the defense here. I could go for the name that was thrown out in the chat there, but I'm gonna go a different direction. I want a right-handed defenseman right now. I'm gonna go a little bit lower in the rankings. I'm gonna go for Kevin Hatcher, another one of my favorite players.
Interesting. Not a player definitely not a player you hear much about, but not a bad pick at all.
Thank you. Yeah, underrated player. I mean, just so Maddie couldn't get him another Penguin for number one super Penguins fan over there.
To be honest, he wasn't even on my radar, so you're okay.
But he only played 3 years for Pittsburgh. I know him from his Washington days in the late 80s into the decade, primarily, and then 2 years in Dallas, then trying to hang on with the Rangers in Carolina. But yeah, very underrated defenseman. You look at some of his stats within the decade. Good goal scorer, 178 goals, 534 points for a defenseman. Was the goals were 9th in the NHL in that decade for points in the decade. He also at 9th. Solid offensive defenseman. He lacked a little bit of defensive responsibility with a -27, but he was killing a lot of penalties. So that is a little bit responsible for a lower plus minus when you're playing down a man. But one of my favorite players to watch, again, on the opposition as I was flipping him off.
It is a very intriguing pick. Prism. Wow. Post. Wow. All right.
So, hey, if you want, you guys can have Anthony. He's going to continue burying me. He's saying Matt's next pick is going to be Darius Kasparaitis.
Actually, during that time frame.
Yeah.
I love.
That's a good pick.
See, but Gator Country's right. Kasparaitis was a piece of shit. So only difference is he said dirtbag. Let's see.
True,
Frank saying,
true.
Had I done a draft, I would base my picks on who would look best with Jaromir Jagr's mullet.
Giving away 2 picks, but I'm 3 beers in now. It's tough to keep track. Phil Housley, is he still on the board?
He is.
I just saw him now. Might have should have grabbed him. That's all right. I have another guy in case one of you motherfuckers get him.
All right. Well, it's my turn, right?
Yes.
I'm up.
Yes.
I got to start filling in some left wing slots here, so I'm going to go back to back. Well, maybe not left wingers, but guys, I'm going to plug in a left wing. So to pair up with Gretzky and Recchi, I'm going to put up one of the best assist man of all time. I'm going to take Matt Sundin and put him on the left wing. Very surprised he's still there. 788 points in the decade of the 90s. 328 goals, 460 assists. The dude knew what to do with the puck when he had it, especially on the power play. 153 power play assists. And I keep losing my place here. 77 power play goals, 52 of them game winners. I'm sorry, 52 of his 230 even strength goals were game winners. So I think that's a great pick. The fact he's still on the board is amazing to me. And with the second, I'm going to fill the second line left wing slot with former teammate of Stevie Y and Teemu Solani, Sergei Fedorov.
That definitely, he slipped big time. We're taking him this late. Ooh.
Both of them slipped. There's still a couple guys on here that I've seen.
We should be fucking ashamed of
Fedorov,
ourselves.
730. Seriously. 734 points in his span in the 90s. 223 career power play goals or power play points. He also had a plus 229 plus minus. So he obviously knew how to play really good, strong two-way hockey. Great on the penalty kill. Sergei Fedorov, let's go.
Oh, Anthony's saying finally someone picked him.
Frodo probably fired me up because I kind of gave Brian the say what? Shit.
Okay, so I believe it's Robbie's turn next, and I'll be right back, guys.
Right on. All right. Well, I'll tell my pick, and then we can have a little discussion about it, Brian. I'm going back to the defenseman here because I still think there's a lot of quality left wingers and right wingers available, which is really all I'm missing now that I have my center iceman locked down. Here's another guy that I hope wasn't picked. And, you know, again, following suit with the Detroit Red Wings, that's Nicholas Lidstrom.
Yeah, he's available. He's yours. Oh,
Fucking
dude.
A, doggy. Fucking A.
I hated the Red Wings for, obviously those reasons, but Nicky Lidstrom was probably one of the best two-way defensemen, especially in that organization, but definitely one of the top of all time. There was really nobody like him. Dude was a pure-born leader. It's a shame he didn't get to see it as long as he did, but at least he got to wear it because he definitely was more than deserving. Having to play with Brendan Shanahan at one point and Sergei Fedorov, Stevie Y, just another huge piece on a very loaded team.
I knew you'd like that, Don. Thank you.
Hey, I got two of your boys there, Don. You better show me some love.
For sure. But alluding back to the conversation we had when you selected those two Detroit Red Wings, as well as the poll question that you can still vote on. The Flyers lost the Eric Lindros deal. Agree or disagree? Sorry, I got a frog in my throat. With Nicholas Lidstrom, he was a big reason why Eric Lindros disappeared in those finals. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just shut down your number one guy. So I mean, to have a shutdown number one guy as my third line guy, I mean, shit, I might even have to move him up. Maybe put him with Brian Leach, but they play on the same side. So, but hey, sometimes you can do that. To Priz's point, I think if this draft was a little bit deeper, you'd definitely see Lettinen and Carbonneau get
for sure.
up. And because I waited to fill my left and right wingers, I might want to grab one of those motherfuckers. You know what I mean?
Great. Keep giving him Keep giving them guys there.
Okay. So who did you take, Rob?
I took Nicky Lidstrom.
Nick
Detroit Red
Lidstrom.
Wings. And all in Don Don's household rejoiced.
Well, you know what, Rob? You got me. You got me because that was going to be my next pick. You got me.
Finally.
Yeah.
I can tell you weren't too pissed off with the Ronick. You're like, yeah, I like them, but I got other guys on my list. Finally, I got one of Maddie's guys.
You got me. You got me. I'll give you that one, Rob. I will admit, you got me.
Touche. It's all loving, fair and loving drafting.
True. I'm not going to get upset like some people will here in this little draft pool we got going on.
I don't know who you're talking about.
Oh, I'm sure you don't. Let's see here. Both prepare for incoming names.
Switching over to YouTube, Captain.
Okay, so let me see here. So for my first pick of this one, I'm going to take my third line center here, and I'm going to go Vincent Damphousse.
Damphouse?
I call it Damphousse because it's French Canada.
Vincent
Well,
Damphouse. Yo, so many names are coming up right now. Wow, names I haven't heard in forever.
Yeah, this is where it gets really fun, man.
I know he's a guy that's not going to come up, but, Uwe Krupp, Marty McSorley, Dmitry Mironov, Eric Weinrich, Vladimir Malikov. This takes me back. Takes me back to the good old days. Slevlin Cote. It's an underrated player. That's all I'm going to say right now. Because some of these guys, I might give somebody an idea. And I don't want to do that. I do know who I'm going to take next, though. All right.
Is it on me or
no,
you waiting to pick?
my wraparound here.
Oh, take your time. Take your time.
And for me,
Yeah, I mean, it's not like we have all night.
it's because we do.
Hey, you speak for you speak for yourself.
Listen, I got work in the morning, so we do have to.
Exactly. I'm not a machine over here. I'm just a person. I'm not a machine.
Let's see here.
He's not a machine. He's a man. You cut him. You cut him, Rock. You cut him.
No pain.
All right.
No pain. No pain.
No pain.
We're talking about Brodo's favorite Rocky movie right there.
I'm not going to respond to that. I have some responses, but
all right. So for
I'm going to
me,
leave him alone.
my next pick, I am going to go. Yes, Priz, McGillney is gone. Let me see here. So for me, my second pair of defense, I'm going to finish that up, and I am going to put Sandis Ozolinsh on here.
It's an interesting pick. Former
Always-
Duck.
Yep, and a Colorado Avalanche, and I've always liked Ozolinsh. He was. I always
He was a Shark too at one point. Yeah.
briefly. Yes, he was. But yes, always loved Sandis Ozolinsh, so I'm more than happy to pick him here. He'll be working with Chris Chelios.
All
You know,
right.
Chris,
Was that,
looking at real quick, Brian, in regard to Guy Carbonneau, he was more dominant in the 80s. I think he'd be better for an 80s draft than a 90s draft, in my opinion. I'm with you on Lettinen a little bit, but I just wanted to respond to that one comment from before. I'm going to look into Lettinen, but...
all right. Was that your wraparound pick there, Matty?
Those were my two.
All right, Robbie, you're up, brother.
Who? Let me get out of this right here. Yeah, it's time. I actually now slid Theo Fleury down to the third line to pair with Adam Oates, so I could draft this legendary Flyers right winger in Rick Tocchet.
Tocchet, okay.
You know, and
Got a little bit of grit.
and basically it's a nice pairing with Sakic and Rodick on that second line. Slide him up there because I could feel comfortable sliding. Now, talk about a guy that had equal success. I think maybe a little more success in the 80s than the 90s. Still put up 646 points in the decade. Really ranking 35th overall in the decade. So a little bit down there, but when you focus on the goal scoring that you get with Ricky Tocchet, that's when he really came into his own in the 90s. He goes up to 24th in the league with 301 goals for the decade. So, yeah. And, again, just keeping with that mantra, guys, I loved watching play.
No, absolutely. I got you on that one. All right, my turn.
It is, Bri. It is.
And I'm going to go. I got to go back-to-back defensemen here. I'm falling behind on them. A lot of the good ones are taken. I believe he's still available. I know Robbie brought his name up. I don't know if you actually ever took him. And Phil Housley.
No, I didn't. I asked if he was still available.
Yeah, I'm going to take Phil Housley there, so he's no longer available. I'll pair him with Eric Desjardins. And my second defenseman, he's going to be my third pairing, number 2 man, because he was still at the beginning of his career at this point. And that's Chris Pronger.
Okay.
I believe he was drafted in 94? So he didn't really become the perennial powerhouse he was in the 2000s. He didn't reach NHL cover legacy until about, I believe it was NHL 2000, if I remember correctly. So, we know what he is. We know what he was. I'll get him in the beginning, back when it all starts.
Yeah, you got a lot of still prominent years there. He was first year was 93, 94 for the Whale.
Aha, I was right.
Yeah.
Where's Chris Pronger when we need him? Come on, man. I got your draft year right. Let's go.
Yes, sir.
Great guy. I love Chris Pronger.
Best Instagram ever. Follow ever.
Oh, he's got a great Instagram. If you don't follow him, you should.
Yes.
All right, Robbie, you're up, brother.
Right on, right. All right, you're all done. All right. So definitely, gotta start getting some more wingers. I started that with Tocchet here. I'm gonna shift to the left wing. I always like to shore up the right wingers because they're more scarce. But
I would like to take Korea, but somebody.
Hi.
Oh my God!
What's funny is he's not even in the top 50 in the 90s, as far as forwards go, according to the stats that I'm looking at.
I think I have a funny feeling I'm going to be drinking on this pick. I should be drinking on this pick because if I didn't, this might be the furthest slide of the draft. Was Brendan Shanahan drafted?
No.
Oh my God!
He was on my radar.
You are mine, Shanahan.
Anthony is saying Gagne, and I would love to say Gagne, but I can't. He was a very late pick for the Flyers in the 90s. It was pretty much the end of the 90s when the Flyers got him.
Yeah, no, it's very true. Very true. I'm really besides myself right now. I just got the second most point scoring left winger in the decade behind Luc Robitaille, who I also have.
So there you go. You're the king of the left wingers in this draft here, Robbie.
Don't talk to me. You drafted Leclerc. You're dead to me. Fucking dead.
For saying great late pick.
I got a couple up my sleeve there, Pris. Don't you worry about that.
Okay, so my turn. So my wraparound time. All right, so for me, I'm going to go right winger to finish up my third line, and I'm going to go with former Philadelphia Flyer turned Florida Panther Scott Millamby.
That's an interesting pick. Was never a fan of Millamby. Although he did make a good pairing with Rob Niedermeyer at the beginning of his career.
He was good for the Flyers, too. It's just that he was a part of that dead era, so very few people really talk too much about his time in Philadelphia. Let's see here. Next up, line 4. Center. I'm going to put Igor Larionov here.
All right. Robbie, you're up.
Do I pull the trigger now? Yeah, I feel comfortable because some of the other guys that I'm going for my fourth line wingers and third line defensemen are going to be like quality depth guys, maybe some penalty minute guys, maybe some guys that can throw the fist. So I'm going to go ahead and lock down my backup goaltender. Ironically, a guy who could throw the fist. That's one, Ronnie Hextall.
I thought you were going to go Garth Snow.
No. I know we talked about Hextall. It was much more dominant in his early years in the 80s, but he still put up quality numbers for the Philadelphia Flyers as well as other teams, Islanders, Quebec when he went in the Eric Lindros deal during the decade, and did bring the Flyers, to a cup, as sour of a taste in the mouth as it was, but still not an easy feat. Not a lot of teams have done that. So
no, absolutely.
I'll take a nice combo of Eddie the Eagle and Hexy. That's a nice combo right there.
That is a nice combo. You'll like my combo better though, but I'm not gonna show off my combo yet. I am going to, however, take 2 more left wingers. So I'm going to fill out my lines 3 and 4 left wingers with I don't know how these guys are still available either. 1 Pierre Turgeon, still on the board. Nobody took him. 335 goals, 827 points in 639 games in the 90s. 285 power play points. That's one thing I have been looking at a lot in these draft series is power play guys. And number 2 here, again, I don't know how he dropped this far. Doug Gilmour. Another guy.
Wow, yeah.
Big on the power play, 277 points in the decade. Not so much the goal score, 223 in 737 games, but great assist guy with 552 in his decade span there. 31 game-winning goals. Let's go, baby. Robbie, you're up. Yes, Prism, he is still available.
So I was up in the YouTube chat reading it. They're going nuts in there. I love it. Oh, I love all you fucking bastards in the YouTube chat. All right. All right, I'm gonna hold off. All right, because I want to read some of these comments before I go for my last D-man. So I'll go for my last right winger here to shore up my offensive lines. And there's a particular guy that I had in mind here.
You damn right, bro.
Yeah, I have to go. I have to go with this. I hold on. Check one thing. Yeah, I'll go with him first, and then I'll save my last left winger because I can sleep on that guy. I am gonna go. I know the tension. You're sitting on the edge of your seat right here. Tony Amonte.
Oh,
Tony Amonte.
Complete the trifecta of, he might slide up for games that I slide Joe Sakic back in the center ice. Then I could put Amonte with Jeremy Roenick and Rick Tocchet, a line that we saw for Philadelphia, and also Tony Amonte goes back with JR back in the Chicago days.
Oh yeah, he does, doesn't he?
He does. Yep. Him and Zhamov, they were Blackhawk downline for the Philadelphia Flyers back in the day.
Correct. So a couple different ties there, whatnot. Good. It's a good story, It's a good story, but does he deserve to be on the team? Yeah, he does when he's 10th in right wingers with 595 points in the decade. And again, good even strength guy, good power play guy with 191 points on the power play, 55 game winning goals as well, which is pretty impressive.
Agreed. Maddie, you up?
All right. For me, taking a right winger that not too many people remember, but was a really good player in the 90s. And the most of the reason why is because he never played with any prominent teams when he was on them. Owen Nolan will be my right winger on my fourth line, who was a very big contributor to the early Sharks days. That's why you don't really hear much about him. And also, he played on the Coyotes towards the end of his career. So, unfortunately, he got the short end of the stick in terms of teams he played for. Let's see here. That's my fourth line completed. Now I got to continue working on my defense. Third pair. Let's see here. That's an interesting idea. Yeah, I guess I'll be taking him. Roman Hammerlick will start off my third defensive pair.
It's not a bad move there.
And that will be my second pick. So now it's on to Rob.
All right. I was going to go with Marty McSorley just to piss off you fucking bastards, you fucking savages in the YouTube. Fuck it. I get it, computers. You know, the gut on who you're going with is the skill. You know, in this day and age, you got to go with all the resources you can take. But this is a guy I don't need to look at any note for or anything. The best pure fighter that I've ever seen. And I mean, that includes Dave Brown. I mean, Dave Brown could throw some fists. You know, me and, you know, Maddie, he was a little bit before your time, but he was definitely the guy that was the next big fighter past, you know, David Hammer Schultz, right? But again, I might appease Don in Detroit land and go with Bobby Probert.
Bob Probert.
Oh, that's not
God bless his soul.
Yeah.
Goes on my fourth line, you know, because this is Field at Ice of Dreams level right now, and he's just the enforcer. He's going to protect all this talented, you know, all my holes and my Oates and my Robitaille's, my Sakic's, Ronick, and Amante. You fuck with them, you fuck with Bob Probert. I saw him talk about fucking Marty McSorley. They just fought for like about, it seemed at the time like it was a good 10 minutes. But it was probably like 3 or 4 minutes, but that's an eternity on the ice.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's a great move. You got to have your guy, especially with the you got to have your guys to protect your studs, especially this era. It was a very physical era, which made it fun. But my next guy, he's not really, I mean, he's a well-known guy, but ever since I heard this story, I kind of fell in love with Steve Thomas a little bit, who's my pick here at right wing. I remember a game, I forget who they were playing. This one guy was talking shit or something. I don't remember what it was. But he was talking shit to Steve Thomas, and Thomas saw him. They were going back and forth a little bit. Game goes on a little bit later, and the guy wasn't paying attention, and a puck goes over the glass. Hits the guy in the face, bloodies him. And Steve Thomas skates right over to the glass where he's sitting, and he points his finger and starts laughing at him. So that story will always stick out in my mind. And Steve Thomas, a guy who could put the puck in the net, 248 goals in the span of the 90s, 575 points, plus 34. So he was responsible with the puck when he was on the ice. Responsible defensively. Not the best power play guy, 173 points in his span in the 90s. But yeah, I'll go with him to fill out my right wing spot. Had a little bit of grit, so he'll be that guy. And I'm gonna add another physical defenseman, big-bodied guy, another guy not afraid to drop the gloves. I'm gonna take Rob Blake to fill out my defensive core.
Nice. I was looking at him as possible to round out mine. That's my pick.
Yeah, another one of those guys that's like Pronger. About mid-90s was drafted. Another young prospect that I can build with. A lot of offensive upside. Like I said, big physical defenseman, knew how to throw his weight, could throw the fists. Had a good shot from the point, was a good power play guy. So, Robbie Blake.
All right, then. So that moves us on to Robbie.
Well, continuing with the enforcers, I got one on my left wing. Go with Madonna and Amante, or if I slide Amante with Ronick, I could slide Tocchet back down. I get so much maneuverability here. That's what I like about this team. His name was brought up in the chat, but it was definitely a guy I wanted to go with. I first went with Kevin Hatcher, who had more goal-scoring ability. On my third line to go with Nicky Lindstrom, I'm going to get Darian Hatcher.
Well, they were brothers, weren't they? I think Kevin and Darian were brothers. I think Kevin was the older brother.
Yeah, I trust your judgment.
I mean, if somebody tells me otherwise, I'm like 98% sure they were brothers.
No, I'm sorry. I was reading a comment, but no, they're brothers, Kevin Hatcher and Darian. Yep.
Yeah, I thought so. You got the Hatcher brothers on your. That'd be fun to put them on the same line.
Yeah, could I? I could maybe. Yeah,
Chris is
definitely
saying
could.
thank you. He's saying thank you, Poe. Also, Hatcher did play for the Flyers towards the end of his career. And he has a very famous Flyer moment. And that was when he gave a hockey root canal to one piece of shit Sidney Crosby.
Correct. Which was the real reason why I picked him. But yeah, no, I did it for you, Priz, but it was definitely a guy. Remember, I told you, I said my last two picks, my last winger, my last defenseman, were going to be high penalty minutes.
Yeah.
I didn't lie.
Yeah, no, not at all.
All right, then. So let's see here. For me, my final wraparound of this evening. My backup goalie and my final defenseman. So my final D-man is going to be an enforcer. He did play for the Flyers, but it was only 1 year, and it was the end of his career. And that is Ulf Samuelsson.
Nice.
Okay.
So he will be on that third defensive pair.
Okay.
Long-time Ranger, too.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah. And he was a bad motherfucker. You didn't want to fuck with Samuelsson.
No.
And
I mean, we had the pleasure of his brother Shell, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So talking about brothers, you know what I mean? And he was a little bit more offensive minded. He could throw the body around too, but Ulf was the biggest defenseman I'd ever seen pre Zdeno Chara.
You gotta love that.
Yeah.
It's a shame he was only on the Flyers for 1 year, though. That's the real shame of it. But
True.
well.
They
All
don't
right.
make them like Zdeno.
No, they don't.
That's like a different atmosphere. If I went up to him, it would be like Danny DeVito to Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Kevin Hart to Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah, truth be told, or The Rock.
Yeah, or The Rock. Yeah.
Chris Dunn saying he was a dick. I hated Ulf.
Very
Let's
dry.
see.
But for some reason, whenever I thought of Shell and Ulf Samuelsson, I always thought of the wrestlers. Just went in and out of my head. Brother, he's managing Cody in AEW. Arn Anderson.
Arn Anderson, yeah.
And what was his brother's name?
Ole.
Oh yeah. Arn and Ole Anderson. It was like in my mind, those four are like the same people. That makes any sense whatsoever.
Not to me, and that's only because I don't know who. I mean, I know who Arn Anderson is, but I don't know his brother.
All right.
Early wrestling days, early Saturday morning wrestling with my bro. Yeah.
So let me see here. So backup wise, the man who will be backing up Patrick Waugh for me, I have a soft spot for him only because he was a great player back in his day, but he was still solid in the 90s. He had a big comeback for his career as a starter, although his starting days were behind him. Grant Fuhr. I'm going to put him as my backup to Patrick Waugh.
Again, very prolific in both decades, but yeah, no, I mean that's solid behind your. You drafted Brodeur, correct?
No, I've drafted Waugh, but it's the
Waugh,
same
that's
thing.
right. Yeah. You went the Waugh direction. That's right.
It's the same thing. Yeah, he's probably going to see at most a handful of games, but at the end of the day, hey, you know what? If you got your backup as Fuhr, I'm not really sweating all that much.
Going back to Grant Fuhr, I'm not sure if it's still on there or if it was on there to begin with, but I believe Netflix had a really great documentary on Grant Fuhr and his career. I'll have to see if it's still on there, but I heard it was really, really, really good, and I've been meaning to watch it.
You want to talk about a guy that played through adversity, through racial discrimination as well. That's a big part of his story as well, and to become a Hall of Fame goaltender in the NHL, truly inspiring.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, so that is my goaltending tandem of Patrick Waugh as the starter and Grant Fuhr as the backup. And, there we go. So that's my final round here. So we roll on over to Rob.
No, I'm done, brother.
Oh, you're done? Okay, so then I guess I was the final pick then. All right.
Yeah, Brian, is your team complete?
My team is complete.
I'm not.
You're not?
You got lost along the way, yeah.
Okay, then. Go ahead, Brian. Finish it up.
All right, so I got two things to announce. One, I did make a trade with another GM. I traded Steve Thomas for a draft pick. So,
well done.
I saw you guys were picking some real nasty guys, and I realized to myself, I said, hey, I need to get a nasty guy. So I traded Steve Thomas for this pick here. And with this pick, I'm going to take Claude Lemieux. I need a guy who's going to be able to stick up for some of these guys. I have the enforcers on the back end, but I need a guy who's going to sit around and protect. And Claude Lemieux is that guy. He was feisty. He was nasty. He was everything you need to be as an enforcer. Now, with my final pick and Mr. Irrelevant, I'm going to take my backup goaltender, John Van Beesbrook.
Oh. He was up there in the rankings, too.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
Yes, he was. And Maddie, beat that. You take Korea, I'm just going to beat you.
It's all right. You can go ahead and say that. But we lift in the cup all the time. So.
Oh, once I go through my roster again for everybody, I'll be waiting. I'll be waiting in the finals for you.
And let's see here. Was that it? Was that the final pick?
Yep.
All right, then. So now it's time to go through the list to finish this bad boy out. In Priz, no one took Todd Bertuzzi. And,
You're
by the way...
too deep, dude. Too deep. It's only three of us. See, it's a shame. We really should have gotten some more people on with us because you don't. It's a very shallow draft with just three teams, and you miss out on guys like Bertuzzi. Lettinen and Guy Carbonell, like you mentioned before as well.
And not even guys like Dave Andrechuk, Craig Yanni, Pat Verbeek, Kevin Stevens, guys I'm just looking at off the list that I'm reading off.
Yeah.
Joe Neuendijk, Doug Waite.
Andrechuk scored a lot of goals. Andrechuk scored a lot of goals in the 90s.
Yes, he did.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Yes, he did. All right, who's going to go first? Who wants to read off their roster?
All right, I'll go first. So, my team from the 1990s is on my top line, left wing, John LeClaire. Center, Mario Lemieux. Right wing, Jaromir Jagr. That's my top line. Line 2, left wing, Paul Kariya. Centerman, Ronnie Francis. Right wing, Alexander McGillney. Line 3, Keith Kachuk, left wing. Centered by Vincent Domphus. Right wing, Scott Mellanby. Line 4, left winger, Peter Nedved. Centerman, Igor Larionov. Right winger, Owen Nolan. Pair number 1 for my defense, Scott Niedermayer, Adam Foote. Pair 2, Chris Chelios, Sandis Ozelinch. Pair 3, Roman Hammerlick and Ulf Samuelsson. My starting goaltender, Patrick Waugh. And my backup, Grant Fuhr.
Robbie, you can go. We'll save the best for last again.
Oh, you want me to read mine last, you said?
Well played, my friend.
Hold the phone for a second. Something I already apologized in the chat. Like, you know, I'm definitely feeling life right now with these beers and buds.
Well, Anthony right now, he is so mad that I picked Yager and I picked Lemieux. He's saying that I need to switch the Flyers jerseys with Pens jerseys. He is so mad that I actually decided to use my intelligence instead of my fanhood in this particular draft.
Anthony, I'm saying, in every draft series we've done, Anthony, I swear to God, he's drafted at least one Penguin.
At the end of the day, look at the situation. Since the 90s onward, the Penguins have had some phenomenal players. You can't deny it at the end of the day. To do that would be way too homer. You got to be smart when you draft in teams and you're competing with people. You got to be smart.
No, I'm not. I'm not. Definitely not saying that. I'm just saying you've drafted a lot of Penguins over the last couple weeks.
Only because
no one's denying the greatness that was Pittsburgh.
as much as I wanted to draft the Legion of Doom line, unfortunately, there's a lot of really good players out there. I would love to have had Lindros with Leclerc, but then that would be crazy because then I'm putting my homerism before, you know, players that had higher stats.
It's all good. You don't got to explain yourself to me. I know.
I'm just letting everybody know there's a reason for it. There's a method to the madness.
Yeah, it's all right. You got your Pittsburgh Penguins jersey framed up there somewhere hanging on a wall. It's all right.
I fucking love you guys. All right. You want me to read mine off? All right, I'll go first. I'll save the best for last then. My top line, Joe Sakic with Luke Robitaille and Brett Hull. Line number 2, I reconfigured this a little bit, and I have Roenick with Tocchet and Amante. Line 3, Adam Oates with Theo Fleury and Brendan Shanahan, which could easily be a number 1 line. And my 4th line, quote unquote, is Badano with Pat Verbeek and Bob Probert.
Oh, so Pat Verbeek was taken.
Oh, did somebody ask about that?
I did.
Sorry.
I ran through a bunch of names. No, it's all good. That's even better. That means that Pat Verbeek wasn't left off the roster.
Yeah. I swooped him up in the later rounds. I got tied in with the YouTube chat.
All good, brother.
Good group of guys in there tonight. I mean, the Rock Steadies with Priz and Don and Chris and Gator. You know, definitely good times. Ricky as well.
Loving the chat's lighting up like that.
Yeah, buddy. Especially on the YouTube side. That's the wave of the future. I'm getting comments on this one Sopranos video lately. It just all of a sudden just took off. I'm up to 35K views on it, and like I'm getting like comment it's just flooding. All of a sudden, it's like the algorithm just picked it up.
That's
it's
awesome.
funny. It's funny how that works. All right, I know we got to wrap up. Defenseman, first line: Brian Leach, Al McGinnis. Second pairing: Steve Duchesne, Kevin Hatcher. Third pairing: Nicholas Lidstrom, Darian Hatcher. And my goalies are Ed Belfour and Ron Hextall.
It's a good team. That is a good team.
Not
as good as mine. All right.
We all three of us have some good teams.
Yes, this whole draft series has been good. We've all had some good teams.
Yep.
All right, so for my team here, first line, I got left winger, centerman turned left winger, Matt Sundin, centered by Wayne Gretzky, and on the right side, I got Mark Recchi. We reunite Sergei Fedorov and Steve Yzerman on the second line. Fedorov on the left, Yzerman on center, and I got Timo Solani, man, in the right. Pierre Turgeon, Mark Messier, and Pavel Bure on the third line. Fourth line, I got Doug Gilmour, Eric Lindros, and Claude Lemieux. I had to get a Lemieux in there. He too feisty to be left off the board.
Lemieux with Lindros on the same line. Ugh.
That's weird. That's like missing. That is.
I gotta go take
We
a shower.
Boy, I thought you putting Scott Stevens and Lindros on the same team was like mixing oil and water. Actually, I'm dead wrong. That is mixing oil and water.
And I saw a meme with Crosby in a Flyers jersey. I'm about to go Jim Carrey and Ace Ventura doing the crying game.
Oh. You know what's funny? I'm watching that right now.
Are you?
Yeah, it's still at the beginning. It's still in the beginning.
Yes.
I haven't gotten to that part yet, but I'm watching the Pet Detective. Defense, I got Ray Bork and Scott Stevens manning my first pairing. My second pairing, Eric Desjardins and Phil Housley. Third pairing, Rob Lake, Chris Pronger. Yeah, Priz, I got your best friend again. Goalies, I got Marty Brodeur, and the Bees are John Van Breesbrook. Bring it. Bring it. They say bad things happen in Philadelphia. Let's go.
I'm looking for Ray Finkel and a clean pair of shorts.
All right, so that is our 1990s draft, ladies and gentlemen. And I wonder, who do you think had the best team? That's the question that we're going to give to all of you out there. Let us know. Feel free to let us know if you don't want to let us know tonight and you want to sleep on it and come to the decision. I know Anthony will say that I have the shittiest team. And on top of that, I believe that we will be bringing this to a close. Don is saying 1 Brian, 2 Rob, 3 me.
What is this? What's this rating? Hold on. Is this still on the screen here?
Yeah, me 1, you 2, Matt 3.
Oh, man. All right. It's because you went that Detroit connection. Don, you're biased. No,
so?
Trust me, everybody's going to rank.
You got to play the people. I'm not saying it.
First, I'm saying Darkwing took many red bastards to the dungeon with you, you spiteful bitch.
That's right. I am a spiteful bitch.
We're proud.
Oh, I do. Oh, at work, they hate me. They hate me. I'm so spiteful. They hate. Oh, so much fun, though.
All right. And Prism says still have to get to the last draft back from the council. Don't worry. We'll be waiting. We'll wait. Trust me. We'll look forward to the analysis of that. But with that though, folks, yeah, it's crazy. And Don saying I'm number 1 in Pittsburgh. And then Brian and Chris is saying Brian 1, me 2, Rob 3.
Oh damn.
That's right. Right. That's right, boys.
That's
right, boys. If you don't like it, I got 2 words for you.
And Priz is saying I'm still in shock. No Hasek. It's kind of shocking when you think about it. No Hasek here. It is a little surprising. But with that being said, though, folks, we thank you all for joining us. And we hope that everybody will tune in next week. Next week, we might be starting up our previews for the season coming up. We might be getting into the divisions, breaking them down, seeing who's got the best chance to win their respective division, who has the best chance of being dead last, and who we think will make some noise this season. Maybe it'll be next. Maybe we talk about the Metro next week, or maybe we save that for a special occasion, or maybe we talk about the Pacific Division more in Brian's wheelhouse with the Duckies out there.
Speaking of, real
knows?
quick, a little bit of news. Anaheim Ducks have signed Jacob Perreault to an entry-level contract this afternoon. So let's go.
All right, then. So we thank you all for joining us for the 1990s draft. We will see you next week right here on a2dradio.com. And at the end of the day, we thank everybody for tuning in. Don, thank you very much. Chris, thank you as well. Ricky as well. Anthony, yes, you too. Every single one of you, thank you so very, very much. And, of course, Prism, thank you all so much for tuning in today. And for everyone who did chime in, thank you so very, very much. Even if you were just watching and you didn't comment in, still, thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We appreciate it so very much because you guys are what keeps this machine running, and you guys make it worth it. You really do.
You guys rock.
So,
yeah, we got to wrap this up. All the sexy commercials are starting to come on. It's getting late.
all right. So with that,
Sexy Encounters or whatever is promoting themselves right now. So we got to go.
So we thank you all for joining us. We'll see you next week. Before we go, though, a couple of sponsors will be thrown at you. First one, if you wish to continue supporting not just the Hockey Happy Hour, but the whole A2D radio family, and it is definitely a family worth sponsoring and helping out, that is where that they can go to support us.
Go head on over to phillydrinkers.com, Philly Drinkers LLC. Get all your A2D gear there. They got all kinds of great stuff. Fall lines coming out. Fleece pullovers, blankets, socks. Get the popular item right now, the Everything Bad Things Happen in Philadelphia t-shirt. You can even get it in a hoodie now. I saw one of our other big supporters. Why am I blanking on Mike's last name? Anyway, he's got the hoodie. Looks great. So you can get whatever you want. Hoodies, T-shirts, show shirts, support your favorite show. PhillyDrinkers.com, Philly Drinkers LLC is where you get all your A2D gear.
All right, then. So, yeah, definitely worth checking out. Tons of fun stuff out there in Philly Drinker. So shout out to them, and just keep fighting the good fight there, gentlemen.
Alex does a great job with all this stuff.
And our final sponsor for the show, besides Specialized Physical Therapy, is Ambuck Services. Listen, man, we're getting to that point in the year where winter is about to be here. Snow might be hitting us anytime. You never really know. We might get an early flurry. Maybe. But in the meantime, if you want to, you can get your deck taken care of, get the trees trimmed, get the bushes taken care of. All you got to do is pull out the lawnmower and just take care of the back and the front lawn. Get that all taken care of before winter hits because it's here. And we may get snow before you know it. So get that taken care of. And if you want to reach Ambuck Services, you can reach them at 856-879-5530. We thank you all for joining us here for this edition of the Hockey Happy Hour. We will see you next week. And as always, stay safe, stay healthy, everyone. When you go outside and you're going into a store or restaurant, please wear your mask. The second wave is hitting us. So please, we want to see you guys here next week. So wear your mask. Thank you all for joining us. We'll see you next week. Peace, everyone.